WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
How about that? And you say you gotta love computers? So a Friday morning after a football game last night, Christine Bellino, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
And these games just go on way too long. And the Yankees game yesterday was postponed because of rain. That happened early yesterday. But here we are on a Friday, heading into the weekend. A weird one for me, considering that, it's a short week here. For me, anyway. Does that make any sense to you, Christine?
It does, and
Okay,
I'm really glad it's Friday.
Okay, that's cool. Yesterday, the January 6th committee hearings going on, and I watched a lot of it yesterday. Did you see much of it at all? It was pretty rough to watch.
It was rough to watch. I saw highlights of it. I listened to a lot more of it. I really want to watch it, though, because I want to see everybody's faces. I heard Benny Thompson, call the final roll call, and super interesting, right? Because this is the last public hearing prior to the election, so we won't see.
It is. However, they have now, and I can't imagine it's going to go anywhere, but they are subpoenaing. The decision was to subpoena President Trump.
Right.
A lot of what I don't think there's any question. Here's the part you can't deny. Based on, these are all Republicans who are testifying, all people that were there, some who stuck around, some who resigned immediately afterwards, or immediately before. I guess they wouldn't have been immediately afterwards because they were all done anyway, right, as of that point.
Right.
But I think that some that did resign. But I think that the people who testified, who were there, who are allies of the president, are the ones that are most damning.
Right.
And it's hard to say, well,
you talking about those rhinos again?
It's hard to say that they're people that, right, that these are people who hate Trump. But they're not. The people that are testifying are people who really stood by him all the way up until that point. And, he clearly knew what was going on. He wanted to be there, actually marched down the street with these patriots, if we want to call them that in many cases had weapons, and all of that stuff came out in testimony from Secret Service records and from people who were close to the president. So, I don't know how you defend that, except they picked on him so much he finally just snapped. Because I don't know any other way you could describe it. And maybe you want to talk about it. 315-736-0186. We'll certainly talk about it. But there's no way to deny that's really what went down.
If I may here, I'm looking for the guy with the book. I don't have the... Where's the... So there's a guy with a book out. About Trump and the January 6th committee. He is the police officer who was struck in the head several times. I think he suffered a concussion and he suffered some other injuries, and basically said he was a Republican and a Trump supporter until that day.
His name is Aquilino Gonell.
And he's gotten death threats. He's gotten threats of all kinds. He's labeled a rhino and all this stuff, and he's got a new book out that's I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's essentially my perspective on January 6th or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And just because the fact that he was a victim and said he was a victim of the attack, he's got this hatred thrown at him. And he used to be a guy, if you will, who was, quote unquote, on that team.
So, and that's the thing. You're talking about people who would gladly jump in someone's face to say, to defend the president.
Before that day.
Right. That's the part that I think they're...
Clearly a rhino.
There are certain lines that for these people who are loyal to the policy of President Trump and his policies. But at the end of the day, that was very tough to watch. There'll be a report that comes out. They're going to ask for President Trump to testify. I can't imagine that's going to happen. And the other part that came down, I mean, at what point you have to look at this and just say, I love everything he did, but that was a mistake. Because you have now the Supreme Court yesterday refusing to hear the president's appeal. This is a conservative Supreme Court. These are people that President Trump put on the court. And Clarence Thomas had every ability to handle that on his own yesterday. And the decision was America over politics and the law over politics, which is what the Supreme Court should do. So I realize for a lot of people, it's just you don't want to watch it, you don't want to see it, but it is a part of like it or not, it's a part of history. And it was bad yesterday. The testimony was bad, and it was coming from people loyal, extremely loyal to President Trump.
This particular person that I was talking about, his name is Mike Fanone, from Washington, D.C., a police officer. He was a D.C. police officer who was severely injured during the Capitol riot. He has released a book about his life and his experiences that day. Mike Fanone talking about the serious injuries he suffered on January 6, 2021. The former President Trump supporter says after the riot, he was shunned by fellow officers and by Republican lawmakers, including House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who Fanone says is trying to rewrite what happened that day. His book is called Hold the Line, The Insurrection and One Cop's Battle for America's Soul, and it is now available. And actually, I've reached out to him to get him on the show. Fingers crossed on that to hear his perspective. But
so I have to say a couple of other observations from yesterday. They played a tape of Nancy Pelosi, and I'm going to tell you something. It was awful what was going on. Remember, on the outside, they're banging, they're breaking windows, they're breaking through doors. Pelosi and Schumer and others are held up in a room. They're on a telephone. Pelosi's granddaughter is there. She's videotaping, just like a grandkid would, picks up a video camera. So this is now being documented, and this becomes a part of the testimony. My observation is both of them are now, at this point, seem to be playing for the camera a little bit. And Schumer is the worst. The guy can't act.
hello, everybody.
Schumer is like, how about telling the president to do his job? And he looks into the camera as he's saying it.
Oh.
It's like, come on. Now, I get it. What was being done is wrong and terrible, horrific, one of the worst days in the history of America. There's no doubt about it. But come on. Can't you act a little better? Chuck Schumer, didn't you take any lessons in acting? I mean, clearly it's like, oh, my God, I've got a camera. I must play to it. And even better, here's my favorite. Here's why I know they were acting. Because I'm going to tell you this is effing terrible. Now, do you think together in a room, Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are going to use the word effing? Because that's the word. See what I'm saying? They didn't say the F word.
Yes.
I don't want America to know that I swear, so I will say effing.
So
I just felt that, and I get it, Christine, it's being documented, but I wouldn't have played, if I were the January 6th committee, I wouldn't have played that.
no, yeah, right. I agree with you.
Carmine, would you have played that? Absolutely not, right?
Definitely not.
No.
The other thing I was going to say was I don't know if they I think when I did see that part, or I have seen that video, and I think to me it seemed like they were exaggerating their emotions.
I agree.
Not realizing what was really outside. Like they knew things were bad, but they didn't know that giant mass of people was there. Like it.
Well, I don't
need
know
to
that
exaggerate
that Pelosi had. I don't mean to contradict, but Pelosi, maybe at one point that's true.
Right.
But at another point, Pelosi had a TV right there. She was describing, oh, my God, they're breaking through the windows. It was awful to watch. I'm going to tell you, when I was watching that on live television, I began to tear up. I felt like this was the worst thing that I've ever seen. And at that point, we didn't know who was breaking in. It could have been Antifa and whatever one of those groups. Turns out these were Trump supporters.
I watched it.
who felt like they were doing the work, that they were patriots doing America's work here.
Right.
That saving America is what they thought. And that's the other part. These aren't deviants who are trying to say we want to overthrow the country for a dictatorship. These are people who felt that the election had been stolen from its rightful owner, rightful winner. And they were doing the work of our forefathers, standing up for the country, when in reality that was not what had happened. Sorry.
I watched it as it was happening. I too teared up, but I don't think even watching it while it was happening, I knew the enormity of the situation. Like I knew that it was bad. I cried. I thought that it was an attack on democracy, but I didn't have the full picture that I did afterward, looking at all the videos from all the different sides.
Yeah.
I think I had a very narrow view, and I'm going, I hope that what I'm seeing, I think it was actually before I was working back at WIBS,
It was,
and I think we
it was,
texted
yeah.
each other.
We
and
did.
I said, oh my gosh, what's happening?
We did, and I remember texting Manaske, and Manaske, you were like, don't you think you're over-exaggerating a little bit? This was early on. I mean,
Right.
Manaske and I kind of argued over this because he felt that without seeing it all, you felt that I was like blowing it out of proportion.
I remember saying, and we
I've
texted.
documented it. I have in text message.
Oh, you want to read them?
It's
Now,
the part
Conrad,
where I say,
please object to this, that I'm not getting a fair shot here. You have to object
It's
and
the part-
demand an alternate hearing.
this is the part where I say, guess who was right? Okay. But yeah, I mean, who would have thought in a million years that what I described to you could be real?
You were asking me, and I remember this because I was right in the studio. Do you believe this? Can you believe this is happening? Essentially, is what you said. And we had actually that camera right there was that television right there was on CNN, and it was a long shot from outside, probably from about the area where Trump had been speaking earlier in the afternoon, and it just looked like a bunch of protesters had surrounded the building. And you're like, no, they're in the building. And I'm like, I don't think they are. And I don't think, they're protesting. It's not a big deal. And then I clicked over to Fox, and they had cameramen in the hallways.
Oh yeah,
And I was like,
was
oh my
watching it.
gosh, they're in the building.
I was watching it on Fox, and at that point, once they're breaking into the building,
Yes. Smashing
you can't
windows.
describe it
yeah.
as, these
Yeah.
were tourists. They were simply walking through, checking things out. You can't describe it like that. Anyway, I don't want to talk about this all day long because I don't want to talk about this all day long. But it was tough to watch yesterday, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Yesterday also was the Parkland jury coming out with their decision, and it was tough to watch. I watched that all day yesterday as well. It's very difficult to do your work and watch TV. Somehow I think I do it. Some would say I'm just watching TV. As they read off every. So there were how many victims? Each victim, they had to poll the jury, or they had to read the verdict from the jury. It went on forever because there were so many victims, and I thought, why don't you break away from this? And I think that it was the right thing to do because each and every one of those victims deserved to have their names read and the jury's verdict read, right? Each of the victims.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. However, I remember there were 17 people killed, most of them children. So, kids. So, but the decision came out where the jury had some sympathy on what this kid went through, what the shooter went through in his life, and had decided life in prison, which I've always believed could probably be worse than the death penalty, right? Put me out of my misery would be the death penalty versus rotting in jail. The problem, I think, is that people don't rot in jail anymore, right? I mean, you're placed in prison, but I don't think you rot in jail.
I would say,
and that's the description, right?
yeah.
But the families wanted an eye for an eye, and they deserved it, and the jury didn't give it to them.
If I'm not mistaken, one of the jurors has spoken out and said there was only one, I think, that was not in agreement with the death sentence. I could be wrong about that. I don't know what the split was, but I could have sworn.
But here's what it took.
Go
Apparently, it took only one. They were saying yesterday it only took one juror to be for the death penalty, and that would have opened the door for the death penalty. Maybe I heard that wrong.
I was just going to say maybe I misunderstood it. But I will say this, to the point about rotting in jail. Obviously, I have no experience in jail. I don't know. It would just seem that if you're never getting out, knowing that you're going to be caged forever is got to be worse than doing the 25 to life. Like, maybe on good behavior I'll get out, or at some point they'll elect a Democrat and they'll just let me free, or something like that.
Well, right, and the other part is, how many people do we see that are up for parole every 2 or 3 or 4 years, whatever the period is? So that is that's got to be frustrating for the family. And as they were reading the verdicts, you just saw family members crying in the background, shaking their heads, and it was a sad thing to watch. There's just no doubt about it. Yesterday. What else do I have? I have a ton of garbage to get to here. Do you realize that prices are about to go up if you want to eat snow crab?
Okay.
This is a real right turn. I might even be a U-turn. The Alaskan snow crab prices are going to go up, and it's not necessarily inflation. Alaskan officials say, in a major blow to America's seafood industry, the Alaska Department of Fish and Game has, for the first time in state history, canceled the winter snow crab season in the Bering Sea because an estimated 1 billion crabs have disappeared. I had no idea.
From the water, or they've been stolen off somebody's?
I think they have just if they've died off, if they have traveled somewhere else.
Oh, wow.
I don't think anyone really knows. The falling numbers. Restaurant menus will suffer. Scientists worry that the sudden population plunge means that the health of the Alaskan crab may be in danger. An estimated 1 billion crabs have mysteriously disappeared over the course of the last 24 months.
So,
it marks a 90% drop in the population of the Alaskan snow crab.
Christine, back me up here. This is why I always say, whether or not you buy, whatever your take is on global warming, we are doing damage, and I think we should always be conscious of what we do. There's a good chance that they've just died off because we load the oceans with plastic and oil and
possible. Or maybe they decided to take a holiday. I don't know.
A billion? Is it a million or a billion?
Billion.
A billion?
Now, one person's disaster is another person's opportunity. So my second story today is a new group called Save the Alaskan Snow Crab has just received a grant for $1 million to further their cause.
Yes, and
so we lost 1 billion crabs, but we gained another group.
And this was included in the U.S. transportation bill, right?
I'm sure.
That's probably where we put that one.
I'm sure it was. How about this story out of California? And I oftentimes what comes from California, I really believe is just ridiculous and crazy, but I kind of like this. The California Department of Transportation has now approved, and is the first state in the union to approve, Christine, do you know what it is?
Nope.
Digital license plates.
That's
Really?
brilliant.
Isn't
For
that
police to
interesting?
scan, or I guess they're the only ones who need to see them, right? Law enforcement.
If any state in the union needs a digital license plate, it's the state known as the peeling license plate state, New York.
Yes.
I didn't
Right?
understand that whole thing
Oh, Christine.
yesterday. I read the
Yeah.
story
Yes.
About the peeling license plate?
about the peeling license plates,
Yeah.
that you could be ticketed,
You can be.
and then if you need to get a new license plate, you still have to pay for it.
Used to be,
Oh, no.
though, it used to be if it was peeling, you'd get a free replacement. But in California, it doesn't matter. Digital license plates that can display information other than a car's license plate. Like Schumer would say, F you.
Like your sign back there. It's like a scroll,
Correct. It would
right?
be, it could be. I mean, it can show the complete. This one looks like a really nice California license plate. I imagine you You want a vanity license plate? It will become easy. You could change the pictures, whatever might be approved.
If you can read this, you're too close. Maybe you can have like a digital scrolling bumper.
My guess
a
is
bumper sticker.
They won't allow that. But now imagine, though, the benefits for authorities. Because you now have a digital, which I would imagine could communicate to a cell phone and possibly communicate to a police officer.
Right.
Who could grab the information.
Yeah.
Digital license plates can display information other than a car's license plate number are now legal for all vehicles in California. At the end of September, Governor Newsom signed AB 984 into law, which makes the e-ink displays a legal alternative to the traditional metal license plate. The move comes after a successful 2018 pilot program. They've been tested. The test went well, and now they are in play. The revised legislation sets out the conditions for using the e-plate, and it kind of lays out all of the rules. You can't alter, forge, counterfeit, or hack into these license plates, but there are other things that you can display other than just the standard license plate. So you could change the photo out. You can customize your license plate.
One of the things like you could do if somebody has like a sporting event, you could say, go high school, whatever, this weekend.
Is that what they're allowing, or you're just
I think
surmising?
so. It says that you can put like go Lakers or whatever on it.
Yeah. I'm imagining there's a fee, though, every time you make a change. I can't imagine there isn't. But
I don't know.
You operate the customization through your cell phone.
They're
Really?
$1,100 for 4 years.
How much is it?
$1,100 for 4 years.
Holy crap.
Wow.
So the other thing that they can do
I don't know what
is
their normal plate costs, though.
$69.
Whoa. Well, that's ridiculous.
Oh my
So the other thing that it
So
can
it's a
do,
status symbol, isn't it?
the other thing that it can do is track people. And so because of that, privacy groups are objecting to it. However, there are so many implications for this because you could, in theory, law enforcement could, somebody who's convicted of multiple DWIs, a sexual offender, there are many applications for it if they can't find, if someone's been convicted and's got a driver's license and is driving around, maybe police can track their car using this information.
Well, I mean, you could typically do that anyway. If the vehicle's registered to me and I get a DWI or I get a
But it doesn't have a
suspended
GPS.
It doesn't have a GPS. That's an
No,
excellent
this
point.
has a GPS.
But no, that's an excellent point. I didn't realize that it had GPS in it, so that is a great point. Let me just say this. If there's a way to connect it to the engine, I think that's really what we should be striving for, right? You get behind a vehicle and the guy doesn't want to pull over, you just use Christine, you said it's got a GPS. You use the GPS and you use some connection to the engine and you just disable the engine, right? Like an on
What if it's a bad cop?
Listen, did you, right, there are certain rights that we still have to maintain.
Right.
I would hope. However, there's a European country. Did you guys cover the story the other day? Then I saw this one as I was flying. There's a European country that is in the process right now, and it's a proposed law. It would require automakers to put a governor on all vehicles, disallowing those vehicles to go over a recorded speed limit.
And they're talking about that over here as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that
so
was in the news earlier this week, Christine.
ridiculous. You
On
can't do that.
Tuesday. Monday or Tuesday.
Sometimes you have to speed. I mean, what if you have to get to the hospital? And the police officer is like, okay, I'll escort you. And you're like, sorry, I can't. The speed limit's 40. I can't follow you. The person's going to die. And then you never know. You got to pass somebody. You have to go over the speed limit to pass, don't you?
What if you're being chased by a bad guy?
How much over the speed limit can you go to pass someone? 30, 40 miles an hour? Come on. What is going on here? This stuff is ridiculous.
Well, we had said, what about the movie where the woman was chased by the guy with the truck, which was a remake of the 1971
You're
movie?
You're trying to get away from an abductor.
Exactly.
Sorry, I can only do 40. I'm in a 40-mile-per-hour zone. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Now,
It's probably coming, though. And they're going to start timing us from exit to exit on the throughway with your Easy Pass. You know that's coming sooner or later, too.
Yes, it probably is, unfortunately.
They do that in other states.
Yeah.
One more point on that.
They do it on the canal, I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Right, they do that on the canal system here in the state. The proposal, Christine, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if it was New York State, but some state It was basically being proposed for government vehicles, and if you were and like a work vehicle. So what the discussion was in the story that we had Monday wasn't necessarily your vehicle or my vehicle,
Okay.
but if you work for the DOT or you work for some state agency, I believe some state agency is the one who is testing it out.
But they also already have that.
I think it almost already exists in like U-Haul vehicles, and so if you take a vehicle out, it can only go so fast. And maybe the vehicle just couldn't go fast, but I remember doing some moving, and I just could not get the vehicle to go over a certain speed.
As hard as you tried.
It's hard, and I tried quite hard. Okay, Ringo Starr has canceled his tour. Listen to this. Why has he canceled his tour?
Because he's coming to Utica to see the Buddy Holly story.
The former Beatles drummer, 82 years old, announced through Twitter on Thursday that he is canceling the final shows on his North American tour. I'm sure you'll be surprised, he said, as I was tested positive again for COVID. The rest of the tour is off as well. I send you peace and love, Ringo Starr.
Fingers crossed they'll resume once he gets better.
No, I think the North American tour, it's the end of it and the tail end of it, so it's all over with. And he has COVID for a second time. Wayne says what these digital plates will show is, I'm rich, rob me. You're probably right? Because if you're spending $2,500, $1,100, so it's basically $250 a year to have that license plate. I guess any way they can in California to raise money. There's a story out today that I'll try to sweep through this quickly. I just thought it was kind of interesting. Based on your year of birth, the authors of the story came out and they listed the most popular recipe, the most popular dish that existed when you were born. What was the big dish when you were born?
Really?
Yeah. So I'm just like, what would be the big dish today? The big dish today, the most popular recipe today that people would maybe make at home or eat?
I don't know.
I believe today would be the Kraft macaroni and cheese era.
Yeah, probably.
Which says a lot about this generation. Okay, if you were born between 1954 and 1956, the top menu item was Salisbury steak. If you were born in 1953, Coronation chicken was the most popular recipe. If you were born between 1950 and 52, pizza was the most popular dish. Hold on, I'll do just a couple of more here if you don't care. 1957, if you were born in 1957, pigs in a blanket was the big thing.
Really?
1958, chicken pot pie. And these were the chicken pot pies that you got that were frozen that you could warm up. 1959, if you're born in 59, the most popular recipe was tuna noodle casserole. And 60, chicken a la king. Between 61 and 63, beef bourguignon, Julia Child favorite. 1964, fondue. You know, where the two husband and wife or the two partners would get together and they'd stick their meat into the cheese. Yeah. 1965, it was beef Wellington. 1966 to 69, tunnel of fudge cake. I'm sorry, I'm just reading from the
fondue
story.
just got me.
Sorry, I'm just telling you.
You guys know how these lists are made. This
These
is
are-
not
no,
accurate.
these
They
are-
were
these
just
are-
throwing things at the board.
Absolutely accurate. 1970s to 72, the most popular dish was quiche. If you were born in 1973, smoothies were popular. If you were born between 74 and 75, you loved carrot cake. In 1976, chocolate truffles. 1977 to 79, if you've seen the commercial about Brandon Williams, and they're like, can you believe he owns a truffle farm and his parents love the Chinese? it's like, all right, first of all, I think that's kind of cool. I like the shaved truffles on a pasta dish.
Right.
I mean, if you own a truffle farm, why would you put that in as a negative? He's clearly not one of us. He owns a truffle farm.
He's one of the...
It's like, come on. These commercials are terrible.
don't elect the culinary elite to
That's
Congress.
exactly what they're saying. 1977 to 79, you liked pasta primavera. In 1980, it was granola. In 1981, if you were born, it was tiramisu. Between 1982 and 1984, you liked creme brulee. 1985, blackened fish. That blackened thing was really big in like the 80s and 90s until a story came out that said you
Don't
need
eat
to take a
blackened.
commercial break, don't you?
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Until they came out and said the blackened portion causes cancer. Didn't they say that?
Yeah, along with everything else.
86 to 91. If you're born between, what year were you born?
83.
Jeez, disgusting. I'm sorry. You like creme brulee, don't you?
Oh, big fan.
Yeah, I knew
big
you
fan.
did. I
And the
could see
quiche
it.
too. That's my go-to. That's my go-to.
86 to 91, it was buffalo chicken wings. This thing doesn't end. If you were born in 92, your favorite recipe was ranch dressing. What does that say about
We're
those
counting
kids?
down the last decade coming up
Oh.
after the break.
I will take a break, though. I'm sorry. I'm not reading any more of these. It's stupid. By the way, if you're born in 93, you like pizza rolls. Stupid.
Dipped in ranch dressing.
Oh, boy. Got a break. It'll be 9 o'clock before you know it.
For your financial advice to be useful, it needs to be tailored to how you live your life. I'm Jim McGuire, branch manager of Baird's Utica office. At Baird, we provide investment and financial planning for all areas of your life: retirement, family, and estate plans, and charitable giving. Plus, we coordinate our advice with your tax and legal advisors, so you can be confident all your plans are working together for you. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdUtica.com.
From the Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
It's a sad morning in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Pray that something like this will never happen here. It did.
Mayor Marianne Baldwin. After 5 people were shot and killed on a Raleigh walking trail in North Carolina's capital city, 2 others were injured, 1 critically. Witnesses say the gunman looked like a teenager wearing camouflage.
You could just see him carrying a long gun, a long black gun. I don't know what kind of gun. It looked kind of like a hunting gun.
It took police several hours, but they finally tracked the suspected shooter down, saying he is a juvenile white male. The House committee investigating last year's Capitol riot held what may be its final hearing, showing new footage like House Speaker Nancy Pelosi saying she hopes then President Trump shows up amid the chaos so she could punch him.
I've been waiting for this, for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. I'm going to punch him out, and I'm going to go to jail, and I'm going to be happy.
There was also testimony that President Trump admitted privately he lost the election, and the committee voted unanimously to subpoena Trump.
This is a question about accountability to the American people. He must be accountable.
That's Democratic Committee Chair Benny Thompson. Former President Trump says he'll respond in detail next hour. He's already called the committee's work a scam and a bust.
A source close to former President Trump told Fox News Digital it's unclear if he'll agree to testify, but he loves the idea and would use the platform to talk about how corrupt the committee was. A legal challenge to the subpoena could last months, well beyond the life cycle of the panel, which expires with this Congress in early January.
Fox's Jared Halpern, the former president, has lost his bid to stop the government from reviewing classified documents seized from his Florida home. The Supreme Court rejected the Trump appeal. North Korea keeps playing war games, firing yet another missile test, and South Korea reports the North fired hundreds of artillery rounds off the coast and flew warplanes near the border. America's listening to Fox News.
Hi, Larry Elder here. I never really thought much about how aches and pains can reduce a person's quality of life until pain started keeping me from living my best life. Just a few years ago, using the stairs was difficult because of the back pain. Then I found Relief Factor, a 100% drug-free solution for aches and pains. Within a week, I was on my way back to being pain-free. Now I have my life back. I take Relief Factor every single day. Relief Factor can help your body fight the inflammation that causes joint and muscle pain and the other aches and pains that come with everyday life. Treat yourself to feeling better. Move more, live more, and just enjoy your life more with Relief Factor. Join me and more than 500,000 others. Get started today with your 3-week quick start for only $19.95. About 70% go on to order more because it worked for them. Go to ReliefFactor.com to order now. That's ReliefFactor.com. Feel the difference with Relief Factor. ReliefFactor.com.
Good morning, WIBX. First news with Keeler in the morning news time is 7:03. 46 degrees. We'll have your full forecast coming up in just 2 minutes. Your news is brought to you by Baird Private Wealth Management, a strong financial partner for 100 years. Visit bairdoffices.com/Utica for more information. Police are hoping that tattoos help them find a man wanted on several bench warrants from Rome and Ansville. 33-year-old James R. Archer is this week's Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers Wanted Person of the Week. A photo of him is at WIBX950.com. The results of a DNA test linking a central New York man to a double homicide that happened in Vermont back in 1989. Investigators say 79-year-old Michael Louise allegedly stabbed his in-laws George and Catherine Peacock at their residence in Vermont. Louise was identified as a suspect after the murders, but was not arrested until a blood spot was retested, connecting him to the crime. Louise is now being held at the Onondaga County Justice Center. He'll be extradited back to Vermont. A home in central New York that President Biden lived in several decades ago has now been put up for sale. President Biden and his first wife were at the two-family residence in Syracuse while he attended Syracuse University Law School. The home is 3,364 square feet. The price it's currently listed for is $334,000, more or less. More information about the house is available at WIBX950.com if anyone's interested in purchasing it. You could probably call our man Andrew. A new poll has been released involving the race for New York governor. It shows one candidate now has a solid lead over the opponent. The Marist College survey shows Democrat and incumbent Governor Kathy Hochul has a 10-point advantage over her Republican challenger, Long Island Congressman Lee Zeldin. Hochul's lead is only 8 points among those who say they'll definitely vote, however. Hochul's looking to win a full 4-year term in office, while Zeldin's hoping to become the first Republican since George Pataki to be elected governor. Election Day, as you know, is coming up on November 8th, and those poll numbers dipping slightly over the past several weeks as we have analyzed various polls. The Mega Millions and Powerball jackpots continue to grow and have now reached a combined total of $948 million. The prize up for grabs tonight will be at least $494 million. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Elite Car Wash of Utica, now offering Christmas gift certificate specials. One full detail for only $200. Express inside-outside detail also available for $100. 1706 Oriskany Street West in Utica. Partly sunny, then gradually becoming sunny. The high today near 62 degrees. Mostly clear tonight with a low around 39. A 20% chance of showers on Saturday, particularly in the afternoon. Increasing clouds throughout the day with a high near 66 degrees. Partly cloudy Saturday night with a low around 40 degrees. Mostly sunny on Sunday, the high near 59. A chance of showers Sunday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 49 degrees. Your temperature brought to you by Cliff's Local Market. They keep you going. 46 right now, WIBX 950 AM and 106.9 FM news time is 7:06. Here's Jeff Manaski with sports.
All right, thank you, Christine. Thursday Night Football last night on WIBX, brought to you by Tri-County Heating and Air Conditioning. It was a stinker, I hate to say this. These Thursday night games are, I don't know, some of the matchups.
How did it? So it ended with a field goal in the first half, right?
Yeah, 3-0 at the half. 12-7 was the final. The Commanders beat the Bears.
Wow.
I don't think I could double check.
It didn't go to, yeah.
I don't know that the quarterbacks had more. Well, Jalen Fields threw for 190 yards. I guess that's more than I thought. If you watched the game, you didn't think he had 80 yards passing. So anyway, 12-7 was the final. Thursday Night Football exclusively here on WIBX 950. Again, it's tough to find these games unless you have a subscription, but you can catch them each week, and we also carry Sunday and Monday Night Football as well, brought to you by Tri-County Heating and Air Conditioning. Coming up this weekend, the New York Giants will take on the Baltimore Ravens. They're hosting them at the Meadowlands. The Jets play in Green Bay against the Packers, and a major showdown for your Bills as they are in Kansas City to battle the Chiefs at 4:30.
I'm pretty excited about that game. That's going to be so that's the 4:30 game. Okay,
yes,
I like that.
game.
Yeah.
Again, you got that honey-do list. You can get to it early in the day.
Yeah, get it done early, and that's good. Yeah, and the Syracuse game is enormous as well. There's a lot of college football, of course. Utica College, Colgate, Hamilton College, everybody playing this weekend. But that Syracuse game is the first top 20 game in a long time. It's been 3 decades. Can you imagine if Syracuse? Just think for a second. If Syracuse were to win this game and go into Clemson 6-0, I mean, but this is going to be a tough one to win.
Yeah, an 18 versus a 13. Cuse comes in as the 18 seed. It's a 3:30 start from the Loud House, also formerly known as the Carrier Dome in Syracuse. That's coming up tomorrow. New York Football Giants punter Jamie.
Sorry, I thought you were done.
Jamie Gillen is back with the team. He was there for Thursday's practice. The Scotland native had been stuck in London because of a passport issue, but returned to the States around 10 o'clock Eastern on Wednesday night. Baseball yesterday, the Yankees were rained out. They'll play a 1 o'clock start this afternoon, and then the 2 National League series get back into action. Of course, that's Dodgers-Padres, Braves and Phillies. Also yesterday, Yordan Alvarez, another home run as the Astros take a 2-0 series lead against Seattle. 4-2 victory yesterday.
Okay, before I break, I wanted to ask. We didn't ask is he our intern? Is he an intern or is he an employee? Christine?
He's an intern.
Hello, intern Carmine. Good morning.
Hello, Bill. How are you?
We didn't ask you what year you were born to find out what So this is the recipe that was most popular the year you were born. What year were you born?
I was born in '99.
Oh,
okay.
wow. You're
wow.
old,
You're a little older than I thought.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yes, I definitely would. Let's see. If you were born in, listen to this, and you you got the hair for it. You look like a naturalist. What do you do? What do you like to do? What are the things you like to do? Are you a hunter?
No, not much of a hunter.
No, you don't like hunting.
No.
That fits perfectly. Would you, do you plant things?
I mean,
Legal
I worked on a
things?
farm forever.
Isn't
I was
it
raised
great?
on one.
This is
so.
perfect for you. 1999, local and farm fresh was most popular when he was born. 1999, and look at him. That's what he is. That's it.
Local and farm fresh. What? Just anything?
And you could have a tomato. You could have a carrot. I mean, that was the most popular stuff. I'm reading it.
This is the dumbest list
It's right
I've
here.
ever heard of.
You want broccoli? You want an apple? That's all you, man. Okay, well, there we go. But it kind of fits him, right?
I feel like they literally took a group of people and said, write down your favorite food on a dart.
It is so
throw it at the
stupid.
wall. Like
You're right.
What was 97? Macaroni and cheese? When was
yeah.
ramen noodles the popular dinner?
Well, right. That
Not
became,
the farm fresh year.
Not the farm fresh year.
No.
By the way, if you're born between 2000 and 2005, you're a cupcake. Okay. All right, Carmine. Thank you, man. Thank you. I just think it kind of fits him a little bit.
If that's what it is, where it fits your style for the rest of your life, I would have to say that my son, the year he was born, which was not that long ago, the food of the year was either a Dorito or a hot dog. I'm pretty sure of it.
You know what they say? They clearly were writing this story, and they got to 2005, and were like, man, this is taking forever. So then they go, if you're born between 2006 and 2022, they just wrap it all up.
Oh, boy.
Your favorite food would be bologna, I believe. So.
What
I'm
radio?
surprised chicken fingers weren't in there.
You're right. That was a big thing for those. Especially, you find kids that are all big on certain foods. Chicken fingers are one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember when
nuggets.
chicken fingers came out, and became popular. It was a huge deal.
I was working at McDonald's when chicken nuggets came out.
Really?
When they debuted. And it was a pretty cool thing. I mean, you're debuting a new food, and you had to learn how to cook it and everything. And they never trusted me to cook. I cleaned the macadam. I always cleaned the gum off the parking lot. So
I can distinctly remember as a teenager, there becomes a point where you start to gain a little independence. At least for me, there was some cooking independence, but this is how bad it was. I've never learned my way around the kitchen. Throwing a chicken patty. Now, that was a new thing, right? Or did you have that growing up? The chicken patty.
Chicken patties were the breaded chicken patties when the microwave started to become a thing. Were the best.
Yeah,
You'd
I used to throw it in
into
a toaster oven.
Toaster oven or a microwave.
Yeah.
Warm that thing up. You didn't need a bun. It was really good.
If you threw it in a bun, it was really a meal.
And
it was
you
really a meal.
I like ketchup on mine, to be honest with you. Haven't had one in many years. But I will say this. If you didn't cook it enough, you got that one piece that was still frozen, made you gag.
Inside, yeah, it was disgusting.
Yeah. By the way, there was one story I didn't get to, and that was they had a board meeting last night in Baldwinsville on the superintendent who was crowd surfing. He claims now, the Baldwinsville superintendent charged with drunk driving told police that if you haven't seen this video, have you seen the video yet? You got to watch the video. The Baldwinsville superintendent charged with drunk driving told police that he had a drink at home before he attended the homecoming football game. Man, he must not be able to handle his alcohol. Because if he's saying he had a drink,
there's also another, I believe.
That's just not true.
There's from the article I read at Syracuse.com yesterday said he had made some conflicting statements. One was that he hadn't had a drink for several hours and had a drink at home prior. And I believe the other statement to a different officer was, I just had one beer at the pizzeria down the road or something like that.
The Jason Thomas, 48, charged with DWI after some students reported he smelled like alcohol while he was crowd surfing. The superintendent was crowd surfing through the student section at the game, according to a 10-page Baldwinsville police report. Following his arrest, Thompson told police that, as you say, the last drink he had was at 6 p.m. at home, according to a statement by the arresting officer in the police report. When asked how much he drank before the game, he said too much. The homecoming football game began at 6:30 p.m. Now, think about it. If he hadn't been drinking at the game, like he didn't bring a flask with him or anything, because who's going to search? If you're checking bags, which I don't even think they do at a football game, but if they did, they probably wouldn't check the superintendent. But if that's at 6:30 and he ends up getting arrested at 8:45, and let's say he hadn't had anything to drink, what was his blood alcohol level an hour before that, or an hour and a half before that? If it was 0.15, I mean, and you got to have. I got to tell you something. I could have a 0.15 and I wouldn't be crowd surfing, right? Think about how much you would have to drink to get to the top of the bleachers and start crowd surfing down with a bunch of kids. That would take a lot of alcohol, I would think. The homecoming football game began at 6:30 p.m. While at the game, Thompson gave his phone and wallet to a student and asked them to film him crowd surfing. According to the police report, he forgot both items with the student. When police confronted him after he was driving in the park, Thompson told police that he had just come from Sal's Pizzeria, where he had one beer, which contradicts what he told police prior. When officers were speaking to Thompson outside the district offices before his arrest, they also said he smelled of alcohol on his breath. They asked Thompson to perform 3 field sobriety tests. He failed all 3. Ended up with a BAC test of 0.15.
So, look,
still on administrative leave. I don't know what they talked about last night in that special meeting.
So
it was behind closed doors.
I will say during the crowd surfing, his form was amazing. Like he kept pretty still.
Yeah. I mean,
he had great form.
If there were a group of students sitting on the top row of the bleachers, they all would have put up a 10 card, I would assume.
Absolutely.
Awesome job. Boy, oh boy. I mean, I not to make light because terrible things can happen to people. And clearly, if you can't make the right decision to not get drunk on the job when you're in charge of a school district and children, there are some underlying issues here, right, that need to be addressed. So not to make fun by any means, but wow, this is a horrible story. And I don't know how, as you said yesterday, how does he, if you catch kids drinking on school property, how do you deal with them?
Yeah.
How you're in a position now where you've lost complete respect. Going back to that whole thing with the Madison County assistant DA, you maybe you need to step back, get help, and then come back and ask for forgiveness and that you had an illness. Alcoholism is, if that's what it is an illness and can be very dangerous. So maybe that is how it should be dealt with. But oh boy! Now with that, if I can, coming up, we'll talk about there's the Madison County Assistant DA who's now running for judge, who had some sort of an OD moment or not, but police came. Fentanyl was found on the premises. He's the only one on the ballot. The Republicans are running a write-in campaign, actually have been joined by Republicans, Democrats, all parties involved are trying to get a write-in candidate elected instead of people voting this guy in as a judge. Yesterday, he spoke out, and I'll tell you about that after the break. It's 7:18 at WIBX.
Hey there, it's Jeff Manaski from WIBX. You know, the amount of people doing business online has skyrocketed. Are you stuck in the past and ready to move into the future? It's never been more important to make sure that your business is online. Town Square Interactive can help. Town Square Interactive can help you find more customers online and help you grow your business. The best part? It's fast, easy, and there are no contracts. If you want to find out more, just visit mylocalcustomers.com. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
Mark Rose's experience is unique. City Court Judge in Little Falls for the last 14 years. Visiting judge for Utica. As a 30-year practicing attorney, Mark Rose has argued cases at all levels up to the Court of Appeals. He's served as a municipal attorney in towns and villages across New York's 5th Judicial District. And now Mark Rose is running for state Supreme Court to serve all of us. Experience, integrity. Mark Rose for state Supreme Court.
Paid for by the committee to elect Mark Rose for state Supreme Court.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. A bottle of Gum Out Fuel Injector Cleaner can clean your entire system and help your engine get more MPGs. Right now, you can get 2 bottles for only $7. A great deal to help you go a good deal farther. Find Gum Out Fuel Injector Cleaner and everything you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Injury crash, 2-door, 4-door, SUV, motorcycle, big truck. At William Attar, we're New York's largest motor vehicle accident firm, helping those injured in New York State. If a crash caused the death of a loved one, call William Attar, the largest motor vehicle accident firm in the state. Call William Attar, 315-444-4444, South State Street, Syracuse, 315-444-4444.
Today on Hey Culligan, reverse to reduce. Here's Bob.
Hey Culligan, I love fresh water, but I got plastic bottles coming out.
Whoa, Bob, you are not kidding about the bottles. But did you know Culligan's reverse osmosis and always-on drinking water systems provide fresh, clean, delicious drinking water and help reduce the equivalent of over 15 billion plastic bottles from landfills worldwide?
Holy, fresh, environmentally friendly drinking water. Am I right?
Right, Bob. And we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Which room is next for you? The bedroom? Your kitchen? The living room? Hi, this is Kira Meelan from Meelan's Carpet One. What's holding back that next home project? Is it budget? We have flooring choices for any budget and financing options available. Maybe it's inspiration. If so, come and talk to our experienced design team. We're here to help you get unstuck. Maybe you're putting off redoing a room because you're worried about spills and accidents. Whether it's a pet in training or a growing family, we have flooring solutions that can withstand anything life has to throw at it. We have incredibly durable tile options and 100% water-resistant carpeting that's both beautiful and practical. We have options that inspire, designers who will help bring it all together, and always a beautiful installation. To get the perfect flooring, start with the right flooring store. Visit Meelan's Carpet One on Commercial Drive East in Yorkville.
What did 9 out of 10 people who died from COVID have in common?
They were 50 or older.
And if you have a condition like heart disease or diabetes, your risk is even higher.
COVID vaccines lower the risk of death.
Get your updated vaccine now. It could save your life.
We can do this. Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
For the past 25 years, the Good News Center has been committed to building relationships. Better relationships for marriage, better family relationships, and a better relationship with God while promoting self-change. Hi, this is Judy Hauk, Executive Director at the Good News Center. Our programs are designed to support you at your most challenging times. Whether it is marriage difficulties, addiction issues, suffering the loss of a loved one, or caring for someone close, we can offer you support. Or strengthen your faith journey by attending one of our spiritual renewal programs, such as a Bible study or Theology Uncorked. Our support programs are available in person or via Zoom. They are mentored by peers, cost nothing, and are confidential. For more information about all of our programs, visit us at thegoodnewscenter.org or call us at 315-735-6210. The Good News Center, building relationships for over 25 years.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right. I have Buddy Holly tickets to give away today for the Sunday show. If you knew Peggy Sue, then you know why I'm so blue about Peggy. And then after Peggy Sue came out, Buddy Holly came out with the song Peggy Sue Got Married.
Yes, that was the first sequel song, right?
It might have been. I didn't realize that, but it may very well have been. It was kind of a like a sequel to song number one, which was a big hit. Peggy Sue Got Married, I don't think was a very big song.
No, I don't think it was either. But in my extensive research on Buddy Holly, boy, I dove into this.
Yeah.
Fell down the rabbit hole. But they referred to it as one of the few, and possibly one of the first, or one of the very first sequel songs, where you had Peggy Sue, and then there's an update to a character in a previous song.
In a song, yeah. I'm sure there are a lot of songs out there that could have used updates, but the update would never be, the sequel would never end up being the big hit, usually, for the most part.
It never is it?
I guess not. And the same thing with movies, except for The Godfather, which had three really good, strong movies. But wasn't there one that was weaker of the Godfather? I don't know. Anyway, I can tell you that this story out of Madison County is another one that is kind of baffling to me. The Syracuse newspaper is reporting that the Madison County judicial candidate, Brad Moses, who I believe the toxicology report came out, and there was fentanyl in his system, right?
There was, yes. That was according to the Madison County Sheriff's Office. I can get you the exact quote right here, but yes, they took a sample. They detected fentanyl, Delta-9 carboxy, THC, and alcohol. And I don't think the other two are not legal, just the fentanyl is the illegal one.
So according to, and I want to give them credit because this is one of their exclusive stories, you got to be able to, in order to get the story, you have to pay for the service. Madison County Judge candidate. Madison County Judge candidate Brad Moses is no longer to be speaking out, and he's no longer disputing. Remember, up to this point, he said, I did not have any fentanyl in my system.
Any illegal substances.
Any illegal substances in my system. I did have marijuana, legal, and I did have alcohol, but that's it. But now the Madison County judicial candidate or assistant DA, is no longer disputing the toxicology report. The deputies say shows he overdosed on fentanyl at his lake house in July. Moses, who is 44 years old, says he has no memory. This is his story now. I have no memory of what happened that night because I drank too much alcohol to remember. He said he's ashamed to acknowledge that. He told Syracuse.com. The Post-Standard this week, in his first interview since the July 30th incident, WIBX has reached out to him and to his write-in opponent as well, who I believe we hope to have on the air next week. It's not a point of pride for me, but I consumed alcohol to the point where much of the evening I don't remember at all, he said. Quite frankly, I woke up in the hospital trying to determine what happened. Brad Moses says he accepts responsibility for his actions. The Republican is the only candidate on the November 8th ballot for the county court judge seat. Since the overdose on July 30th, of course, Republican and conservative parties have dropped their support for Moses. Instead, in an unprecedented act, the Democrats, the Republicans, and the conservatives are all pulling for a write-in candidate, Rhonda Youngs, who, as we said, we have reached out to. Moses said this week he plans to continue running for the county court judge. Christine, he's going to continue to run for the position. I just don't understand.
I think, in situations like these, we've talked before in other situations that were comparable where people need to get their, personal homes in order before perhaps taking on these very public roles.
He says he plans to continue running for a county court judge, a position that handles criminal and civil cases. For weeks, Moses, through his brother, has denied ingesting any illegal drugs. This happened back on July 30th. He also told the Post-Standard the same thing, that he said the same thing to deputies the night of the overdose. The former assistant DA said he played in a 3-day golf tournament in Casanova, along with his brother on July 30th. Moses and some friends went to his lake house home in Nelson after the tournament. That night, Madison County Sheriff's deputies and emergency personnel responded to his house to find Moses and another person turning blue and gasping for breath, according to an 11-page report from the sheriff's office. And there you have that. So what are you going to, I just personally feel people should vote for Rhonda Youngs. But I don't know there's been enough out there. There should be commercials running saying, vote for the write-in candidate. We just can't assume that everyone knows, right?
I always wonder, too, about these local committees, because I do feel like in many cases they don't buy advertising or support the candidate they'd like to see. And I don't know if that's a budget issue. I don't know if that's a local funding issue for them. Now, I don't mean local funding like government funding.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not. We've heard this from some candidates for state office, local office. They get endorsed by the party, and then there's no like, hey, a budget for, there's no, other than maybe hosting a barbecue or something like that. There isn't money to buy ads or get a particular message out. And I think it's probably the same here. I don't know that the Republican, conservative, or Democrat party
have a big budget,
right?
Yeah. It's not like the state committees, which they have money to, they raise money. Jerry is in Watertown. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, crew. So I was driving actually up to Watertown today, and one of my friends shared something with me. I took a listen to it on through my truck car.
Yeah.
I was appalled because it was true. Yesterday, the European Council had the Pfizer CEO in front of the European Committee, and under oath, she had admitted that the Pfizer vaccine was not effective, and they knew this rolling it out to millions of people worldwide during the peak of the pandemic.
They didn't say it wasn't effective.
Yeah,
they didn't know it could treat if it would stop transmission. We talked about that yesterday.
Did you see that in the story, Jeff? Did you see it in the story?
They didn't know if it would be effective in stopping transmission. Not that they didn't think it would be effective in fighting COVID-19.
Which, if you remember, Jerry, the change came. First of all, I'm of the belief that I'm going to get the next vaccine. I don't believe that it hurts. I'm not quite sure that it certainly has not prevented me or my wife from getting the virus. She's had it 3 times. I've had it twice. So, but Jerry, if you remember back, I don't know, it was a year and whatever ago, the change was we know that this vaccine will keep people out of the hospital. It'll keep people from going onto a ventilator, or et cetera, et cetera. So I think they kind of changed their story. I don't know what's going to be true, and I don't know that we're going to know for a few years, and it'll be history that'll tell us how accurate this whole vaccine was.
I mean, the thing was, in listening to this, a vaccine's job is to prevent transmission. She admitted she didn't do it. Now, here's the big question we got to ask ourselves. In the scientific community, we always look at objective data, not emotional, not political, but objective. Right. So this is a question. This is a good question for your Dr. Hall there that you have on all the time.
Yep.
So if the vaccine when it was rolled out during the peak of the pandemic, they knew it didn't prevent transmission. How effective is it now? That's what we need to ask ourselves. And is that the reason we're seeing an increase of people that have 3 or 4 vaccines? So that data needs to be looked at. They have to do some intense study. They should actually, because Pfizer's one of the big boys, and apparently they made about $38 billion on the vaccine.
Yep.
They should look at all the vaccines.
Think of it, Jerry. Think of the emergency money. And this goes
surge rate now.
Yeah.
And we don't know if it's because A, the variants, or B, because the vaccine that they said was supposed to prevent transmission transmission.
Yep. You're breaking up just a little bit. I'm amazed that you're listening up there. Hopefully on the I'm assuming on the app. Although our signal goes very strong up through into the North Country up towards Watertown. But anyway,
I'm about halfway there, heading up to Fort Drum today. But when like I said, we need to look at this data, and I mean, we need to push our elected officials to say, hey, are the vaccines as effective as they're touting them? I mean, we've been hearing this campaign, they're safe and effective. Now we find out that one of the big three knew when they rolled it out that it wouldn't prevent transmission.
So
that's kind of a...
I agree. I do. I agree. And it makes you wonder when you hear of people who are vaccinated who get it and then get it again. It is now. And the other part of this is, you brought up a very good point, Jerry, are we not winding up in the hospital because of the vaccine? Or are we not winding up in the hospital because each of these additional variants are a little bit less dangerous each time around? So I don't think we know, and at some point, I completely agree. We got to get to the bottom of it. We should know definitively when this is all said and done.
Yeah, the problem is with virology is the virus is always 1 to 3 steps ahead of science.
Yeah.
We do our best in that area to try to manipulate vaccinations to, lessen the chances of transmission. So, again, the big thing is they knew it wasn't, and they rolled it out as far as preventing transmission goes. Now, to the European Union, the president of it had an interesting thing to say, and he was quite upset and wants somebody held accountable. I can't blame him, honestly. That's millions of people worldwide were deceived that they had this protection, and now they're saying they knew it didn't prevent transmission. He was more concerned about that they had, through Europe, the lockdowns and the vaccine passports, and it cost, them billions of dollars with their economy and everything else. So all true, but honestly, I think the safety of the people that you're saying, look, take this vaccine, it's going to help prevent transmission, should be the number one priority here. It's about.
Well, and Jerry, you know as well as I do, when this whole thing was coming out, it was people were. Do you remember what it was like? We were fighting to get the vaccine. You were fighting to get an appointment.
Right.
I remember getting online for other people and people giving me their social security numbers, and I'm getting 6 or 7 and then at a time because I finally got through because we thought we were going to be completely protected. And boy, if we find out now that we weren't, and the story kind of changes and evolves, it does make you question, and it does make you less confident the next time there's a big problem, and that's not a good thing for the society, for the country, for the world.
Public trust is violated at that point when something like this comes out. One of the big things we used to laugh about, because when you do research, you're trying to do as much long term out there. So there was always a campaign of, with all of them, take the vaccines, are safe and effective. Well, now we know that one of the three didn't prevent transmission, so that's a wash. We don't know if they're safe. We don't know if 5 years from now there's going to be some kind of weird cancer they're going to find out.
Okay, but hold on a second. Hang on.
That's a bad campaign to put out that it's safe and effective. We got to do more research, and I think they got to incorporate all three. And that's about all I can say on that subject.
All right, Jerry, thank you. We appreciate it, and be driving safely up there. I do think that. Thank you, Jerry. I do think it's not. That it isn't dangerous. But how many times is somebody taking a medicine that you're told is safe, and then 10 years later we find out, there was something we didn't know about this medicine? The answer is there's a certain element of trust where you're taking that leap of faith, and that's what we have done, and we hope that all is going to be okay.
Okay, so and I agree with really probably almost everything you guys said, but can't conflate the issue. There could be side effects down the road that we don't know about, as with anything that is new to our bodies, and we don't know how we're going to react to it. But not having tested it, its ability to stop transmission is different than there's a lingering question about whether this was safe and effective. Well, as Jerry was indicating.
But I think what the point that I'm going to take away from him, and then I'll break here, that I think is fair, is that when they kind of kept that information away from us, that it did not stop transmission, and then they finally revealed that, we knew that, we just didn't talk about it, that does erode public trust.
100%.
And that
100% it
is
does.
the same thing. Remember the war on drugs. It's like this drug is going to kill you. Marijuana is going to kill you. Well, we find out that isn't true. So now you don't believe anything they say, right? It's you'd be better off just being completely honest up front with people and then dealing with it after that as opposed to trying to deceive them. But remember, there's a lot of money on the line here. This is a private company. This is Pfizer that made millions and probably billions of dollars off making this vaccine. So what are they going to do? Hey, our vaccine doesn't work. Don't give us any more money.
And if I can just one more thing, and again, I'm not disagreeing with Jerry, but I just don't want him to think that, oh my gosh, like this was some concoction and it was we just threw it at people and said it was tested. He made the point about the transmission. I'll move on to this. There was an evolution, if you will, in the messaging that I remember from the president, from Joe Biden, in that this was a pandemic of the unvaccinated, right? But that you're talking about a transmission issue. If you're vaccinated, then you can't get it or spread it. But remember, then the evolution of the messaging was, well, you can get it or spread it, but your symptoms will be less severe, and it's more likely that you won't. It's less likely that you'll die from it.
I think
that was the evolution in the messaging.
That's a great question for Dr. Hall next week, because remember there were many things that we were told through this process. Because I got to tell you, in the beginning, we didn't know, right? In March of 2020,
we never dealt with this before.
In March of 2020, we thought it was going to wipe out society, for God's sakes. And at the beginning, it kind of did that, put people in the hospital on ventilators, but somehow we evolved past that. That I guess I don't completely understand. Maybe the treatment of it has changed, which has been what has kept people off ventilators. I don't know. 7:39. Let's break. Christine will do a quick update. And we'll do our free money question of the day. Stand by, coming right back at WIBX.
Earn more for every dollar saved with AmeriQ. Open a new 12-month share certificate at 2.53 APY. Save more with your credit union. Get started at ameriq.org/save today. APYs are current as of June 21st and are subject to change without notice. Minimum balance to open is $1,000. Fees may reduce earnings. Withdrawals of principal are subject to early penalties. Insured by NCUA. AmeriQ. For every day. For everything.
Julie Grow Denton, longtime practicing attorney and law clerk in federal, state supreme, and county surrogate court. Julie Grow Denton, high school valedictorian, honors graduate from Bucknell and Harvard Law. Julie Grow Denton, candidate for state Supreme Court.
I'm Julie Grow Denton. Every community deserves to have judges in whom you take great pride. From an early age, my parents instilled a love of family and a strong work ethic. Born and raised near my dad's family in Rome, vacations and holidays with my mom's family in the North Country. My career has brought me to courtrooms and law offices across our region, all while raising 2 children with my husband, driving them throughout Central New York for scholastics and sports. I know our communities. I value the importance of treating others with respect. I love the law, and I will make you proud. I ask for your vote.
Elect Julie Grow Denton to state Supreme Court. Paid for by the Committee to Elect Julie Grow Denton for Supreme Court.
Today on Hey Culligan, reverse to reduce. Here's Bob.
Hey, Culligan, I love fresh water, but I got plastic bottles coming out.
Whoa, Bob, you are not kidding about the bottles. But did you know Culligan's reverse osmosis and always-on drinking water systems provide fresh, clean, delicious drinking water and help reduce the equivalent of over 15 billion plastic bottles from landfills worldwide?
Holy, fresh, environmentally friendly drinking water. Am I right?
Right, Bob. And we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Cold beer, hot lights, my sweet romantic teenage night.
Friday, November 4th, the Stanley Theater rocks again with Ricky Z's Billy Joel Tribute Show. This is a must-see all-star performance with Rick Zaccaro, Mark Bolos, Greeley Ford, Scott Rutledge, Mike Galimi, John Dugan, Julia Scranton, and Ron Zaccaro. Help Ricky Z donate more pianos to our local elementary schools. Friday, November 4th at the Stanley Theater in Utica.
I'm Oneida County Sheriff Rob Mashel. Out of Touch Albany passed bail reform despite almost every sheriff in the state opposing it, including myself. This makes us less safe. Corrections officers are in danger because of the HALT Act. And now, new gun restrictions have sadly targeted law-abiding citizens. I will continue to fight these unsafe, unpractical, and even unconstitutional laws. I will also continue to help keep our communities safe. Our children are safer in schools because nearly every school district in Oneida County has a trained member of the Sheriff's Office on duty. In Utica and other municipalities, our deputies stand with police to assist them because of an increase in crime. The men and women of the Oneida County Sheriff's Office are making a positive difference. I'm Rob Mashel, and law enforcement is my family. Your safety and their safety matters to me. This November, please vote for me to continue as your Oneida County Sheriff, paid for by the Friends of Rob Mashel.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM and 106.9 FM news time is 7:43. 44 degrees. We'll have your full forecast coming up in just 2 minutes. Your news is brought to you by GPO. It's Member Appreciation Month, and GPO says thank you to all of their members. See all the great things they have to offer at gpofcu.com. 4 NASA astronauts returning from the International Space Station will be a little late. That's because of rough weather off of Florida's coast, pushing back the departure from the space station aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon, originally scheduled for Thursday morning. NASA and SpaceX are now aiming for 11:35 a.m. Eastern Time today for the capsule's departure and splashdown at about 4:50 tonight. The Crew Dragon typically has 7 potential Florida landing zones off the coast of Pensacola, Tampa, Tallahassee, Panama City, Cape Canaveral, Daytona, and Jacksonville. The committee investigating last year's Capitol attack voted unanimously to issue a subpoena to former President Donald Trump. During Thursday's hearing, committee chairman Benny Thompson said the Democrat-controlled panel concluded Trump was the driving force behind the Capitol riot. Trump can refuse to comply with the subpoena or invoke his Fifth Amendment right to refuse to answer questions by committee members if he chooses. He said he'll respond by 8 o'clock this morning, Eastern Time. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk said today he's just following the recommendation of a Ukrainian diplomat by looking to get out of paying the cost of satellite internet units Ukraine military uses. Last week, Ukraine's former ambassador to Germany told Musk to F off after the SpaceX founder tweeted a series of Kremlin talking points as a plan for peace in Russia's war on Ukraine. Musk's tweet this morning came in response to a CNN report that SpaceX has warned the Pentagon it can no longer afford to provide its Starlink terminals, crucial for Ukraine's military communications. 2 men in Missouri accused of plotting to shoot migrants at the Texas-Mexico border. The FBI said on Thursday the men broadcasted their plans on TikTok. The alleged plot also included threats of violence in Washington, D.C. and against U.S. Border Patrol agents. 32-year-old Jonathan Odell of Missouri and 37-year-old Brian Perry of Tennessee are now facing charges in federal court in Kansas City. Gas prices are down again. AAA reports the national average price for regular is down to $3.90 a gallon. That's a penny lower than yesterday as prices keep dropping. And a British TV show coming up later this month is already getting bad reviews for featuring a painting by Nazi leader Adolf Hitler. The show on BBC Channel 4 will ask a studio audience to decide whether host and comedian Jimmy Carr should destroy a painting by Hitler. The show Jimmy Carr Destroys Art is intended to debate whether it's possible to separate a piece of art from its controversial creator. The Holocaust Memorial Day Trust called it deeply inappropriate and said Carr is an inflammatory host. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Country Suburban, your premier Lennox dealer. Partly sunny, then gradually becoming mostly sunny today. The high near 62 degrees, mostly clear tonight with a low around 39, a 20% chance of showers tomorrow. Increasing clouds, the high near 66 degrees. Partly cloudy tomorrow night with a low around 40 degrees. Your temperature brought to you by Cliff's Local Market. They keep you going. 46 right now. WIBX First News with Keeler in the morning news time is 7:47.
All right. We're running way behind. Let's do a free money question of the day. And Carmine is sitting in for Davey here this morning. What caller do you want there, Mr. Natural?
Let's go with caller number 4.
Caller 4, 315-736-0186. It's your chance to win from the Hobeika Law Firm, Joseph and Andrew Hobeika. On the line this morning, $106.90. Plus, we have some food to give away. We have some tickets to give away. All in a consolation we'll explain coming up here if you don't win. But I must say, This might be the easiest question I've given in a long time. Chance to win $106.90. Caller 4 right now on WIBX.
I'm Mary Finnegan, and I'm running for Oneida County Clerk. I'm the youngest of 7, and we still live locally. My dad was a World War II veteran, and my 95-year-old mom remains the backbone of our family. As a single mom working 2 jobs, I decided to run for public office and kept the job of town clerk in Whitestown for the last 17 years. Now I want to take that experience and serve the people of Oneida County. In Whitestown, I pushed to modernize the town offices and submitted and won a grant that brought our records department into the 21st century. All of this, and we still kept the public's information safe. If you elect me clerk, I'll do the same for Oneida County. I also understand the importance of customer service, working well with others, and recognizing people's strengths. If elected, the DMV will be my top priority. Designated lines, DMV navigators, and good old-fashioned customer service is where I'll begin on day 1. If you need a county clerk who can hit the ground running on day 1, then I am the right person for the job. I'm Mary Finnegan, and I would so appreciate your vote this November for Oneida County Clerk, paid for by the Friends of Mary Finnegan.
Hi, this is Tom from Gates Cole Insurance. We're an independent insurance company, which means we will research all the different companies we represent and find the best coverage. You avoid the one-size-fits-all insurance policies by letting us work for you.
My name is Rhonda Bartholomew. I'm the president of the Volunteer Fire Department of Taberg. I joined the fire department back in 2001 as a firefighter. We've known Gates Cole for 26 years, actually. Bill is wonderful to work with. When we have our renewal every year, he comes up to the station and goes over everything. He knows, I think he actually knows more than what the fire department knows. No, but I'm saying as far as the apparatus and all that, he's wonderful. He can tell you anything. And that's not just with my department, that's with every department.
This is Bill Cole. For your insurance needs, trust your local independent insurance agency, Gates Cole Insurance. Proudly representing Finger Lakes Fire and Casualty Company of Trumansburg, New York. Gates Cole Insurance. We'll take care of you.
What did 9 out of 10 people who died from COVID have in common?
They were 50 or older.
And if you have a condition like heart disease or diabetes, your risk is even higher.
COVID vaccines lower the risk of death.
Get your updated vaccine now. It could save your life.
We can do this. Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, this is John Calabrese. Is your company looking to hire qualified, dependable employees but unsure of where to look? Let Express Employment Professionals take on the recruitment and hiring process for you. We're a locally owned, full-service staffing firm. We'll help you find your next star employees. Business decisions come down to time and money, and Express can save you both. We take on finding employees for you so you can focus on meeting your business goals. Find us on the web at expressmohawkvalley.com for details on how to get started. Are you looking for a great job? Stop searching. ECR International is hiring for assemblers and maintenance technicians. You could be working for the company that actually helped kickstart the world-famous Boilermaker Road Race. Both of the positions that we're currently hiring for offer excellent pay with a full benefits package. Instead of waking up every day dreading work, wake up and have a fulfilling job working for a great local company. Work for ECR International. To find out more, just call Express Employment at 315-790-5723.
Oh, boy. I'll do it right now. Listen, has getting older made it harder for you to step over that old bathtub? Why not make your life easier by updating your bathroom with New York Sash? Now's the time during the New York Sash Bath Makeover Sale. A tub-to-shower conversion is a great way to provide easy access to bathing. New York Sash will remove your bathtub and replace it with an attractive, durable, extra-large shower. Add a seat handheld shower fixture or a grab bar, and you've got a bathroom that is safe and easy to use. Possibilities are endless, and New York Sash will work with you to find a bath system that's perfect for you. Trust New York Sash for worry-free remodeling. And during the month of October, get 20% off during the Bath Makeover Sale. Get started today by stopping into the Design Center on Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro or visit online at newyorksash.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, it's 7:52. Man, just running behind this morning. Everything is just take a deep breath because we've got a great weekend coming up. I mean, I don't know if you're looking at the weather here this weekend, but we'll be in well into the 60s this weekend. I thought we were going to get colder weather, And after all these tornado watches yesterday, and it looks like a great weekend to get stuff done. There's a story that I read this morning that says, stop raking your leaves. It's in the OD today.
Well,
don't rake your leaves.
There's more that are going to fall?
No, they're saying that you leave them there, let them rot. Leave the leaves, let them rot. I've cut it out already.
Yes.
I've posted it on my wife's going to walk into the bathroom and see it on the mirror this morning because she's always complaining that I'm not out there cleaning up the leaves. They're saying let them stay. They're going to rot. They're going to feed your lawn, and you're going to be just fine.
Leave the leaves, let them rot. Rake the criminals out of prison. It sounds like a campaign slogan.
Tim is in Deansboro. Good morning, Tim. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. How is everybody doing?
We're doing well. How is Deansboro? The leaves have turned pretty well over there.
Yeah, the leaves are beautiful. I'm getting ready to head to Buffalo, look at all the leaves on the thruway.
Oh,
It'll be a great weekend for it.
Are you going out? Are the Bills playing at home this weekend?
No, Kansas City.
No. So you just headed to Buffalo. Okay, fair enough. This is a question. I mean, think about the one thing that doesn't come to your mind when you think about this, and you'll have the answer. So, are you ready? Right.
Let's go for it.
For $106.90, this is your question from the Hobeika law firm, Joseph and Andrew Hobeika. Here it is. Tell me, if you would, within 7 seconds, the rarest color M&M. Which is the rarest? Ready, go.
Purple?
You're going to go with purple. Okay, I don't think purple, I don't know if it's a color. Yellow. Keep guessing. Purple, yellow.
Hey, I had 7 seconds to put some answers in, right?
Well, purple was a good guess, but I don't know that there is a purple. I don't know if purple is one of the normal M&M colors.
I want to say orange, but because I see a lot of blues. You'd think it was blue, but I see a lot of blue.
Carmine knows the answer. Carmine, the most rare M&M is?
Is it in a normal bag?
In a normal bag. Yeah,
it is.
I would say probably orange.
It's brown.
It's brown. Yeah,
It's brown.
It's brown.
Brown?
Brown is the most rare. Yeah. You know, it's funny. I am able to. I love M&M so much. And my wife and I did this. She'll put them in my mouth, and I can tell the color of the M&M.
That's not true.
Get out of here.
No, that's not true. But I wish it was. It'd be a great little trick, wouldn't it? That would be a trick and a half.
That's one of the facts about M&Ms, if you look them up, whether they be the peanut or regular M&M, is that some people think, that it's a taste difference, but it's not.
Listen, as a consolation, though, Tim, we're going to give you the following. From the 72 Tavern and Grill, which is back open. I'm going to be there later today, as a matter of fact, for our a retirement party, as a matter of fact.
They have great food there.
They have great food. We're going to give you a $25 gift card. By the way, it's Jim Rondinelli we're talking about today.
Yes.
72 Tavern and Grill will give you a $25 gift card. If you can use them, you might be in Buffalo. You can work that out with Carmine. We have tickets for you to see the Buddy Holly story at the Stanley Theater with Broadway Utica. And for next weekend, any of the shows, if you'd like to come to, it's a table for 6 Fat Cats Comedy Club tickets, all right?
It's better with losing than winning. All the stuff you gave us.
These days it is. So you stand by. Carmine's going to take care of you. Thank you, Tim. Safe travels today to Buffalo, by the way. Carmine, he gets tickets to the Broadway Buddy Holly. Tickets to Fat Cats Comedy Club, 6 seats. I need phone number and email address. And he gets the 72 Tavern and Grill gift certificate for $25, okay? All right. You got it? You got it.
See if he can do the Sunday show, because if he's out of town, we'll give him
see if he can do
else.
it. And here's Mike Curley with UPD. Good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning.
It's been a hell of a day, Mike. This is just this is brutal. Just brutal.
Yeah, it's not even 8 o'clock.
It's not even 8 o'clock.
I got an hour to go, right?
Yeah. Listen, do you have any information on the case of the man wanted by New York City police on murder charges who was found in Utica?
So just a little background on that. There was a robbery investigation on the 1100 block of Mohawk Street. An individual matching that description, dressed all in black, was stopped. And so had to been this individual, John Carter, upon running his name and getting the information he provided us, a hit came back in what's called our e-justice system. Upon confirming that hit and confirming that he was, in fact, John Carter, We contacted New York City. They confirmed the murder first, and they came to extradite him. From our understanding, it is a murder first because a witness in a particular case of a felony was shot in the head by Mr. Carter. But we don't get a lot of information when we get a hit confirmation, so that's about the only information we have with respect to the details of the incident.
So here we are on Friday, and it's a high school football weekend, and there is a change for what we believe is a change for the good.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'd really like to say, first and foremost, it's going to be incumbent upon those attending the game how successful it is. We can have as robust and comprehensive a plan as we have, but it's really on those to continue this, the fun, for lack of a better word, for the students, staff, and all the attendees. As long as everyone behaves at the game, I don't see why this can't continue in the future, but, the behavior of those exiting the game, most importantly, is what's really going to tell how this goes in the future.
So we're talking about Proctor high school football games. How long has it been that night games have been banned? How long has that been going on?
I don't know the exact date, but it's better than 5 years. There were some major safety concerns following the last night game, and it was just kind of behooved us to not have a night game thus point forward, and we're really trying to bring it back. The administration of the school mostly for the kids. It's important for them to experience this particular type of event, on homecoming, and they're having a great season. So we hope it really goes off without a hitch.
So starting tonight, is that correct?
That's right. Yep.
Night games are back for Proctor, and again, I think it's important to note this is all about this continues as long as people behave.
Yeah, just a few things. We're asking that no bags come in. Everybody goes through the single point of entry. Everyone goes through the weapons detection system. There are some contingencies for those with handicap issues. They can come in up top, but they're subject to search as well. And we're asking that all vehicular traffic exit in an eastbound fashion after the game towards Tilden Ave, and pedestrian traffic after can go their generalized way. But we'll have people outside as well assisting.
Mike, as always, we appreciate it. Have a great day and a great weekend. Thank you.
Have a great weekend. Thanks so much.
Sergeant Mike Curley with UPD. Got a break. News straight ahead here. WIBX Utica Rome. It's 8 o'clock.
What will he say? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. We expect a detailed response this morning from former President Trump to the subpoena from the House committee investigating last year's Capitol riots.
He is the one person at the center of the story of what happened on January 6th. So we want to hear from him.
Committee Chair Democrat Benny Thompson showing congressional leaders in this hearing. They were calling for the National Guard. There was footage of all that and messages from Secret Service warning of before January 6th armed groups coming to Washington. The former president calls it all a scam.
Telling Fox News Digital in an exclusive quote, the committee is a hoax, a sham. They have no case. They have no ratings. So they have to try to do this to get publicity.
Fox's Kevin Corke after the hearing. CNN aired video from January 6th of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi saying that day she hopes then President Trump shows up at the Capitol so she can punch him.
I've been waiting for this, for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. I'm going to punch him out, and I'm going to go to jail, and I'm going to be happy.
A setback for the former president at the Supreme Court, rejecting his attempt
to overturn a lower court ruling giving the Justice Department access to classified documents collected in an FBI search of his Mar-a-Lago estate. A three-judge panel from the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals sided with the Justice Department that a special master appointed to review documents taken in the search did not need to review classified records.
Fox's Jared Halpern. 5 people are dead in Raleigh, North Carolina, shot on a walking trail.
We must stop this mindless violence in America.
Mayor Marianne Baldwin. 2 others were injured, one critically by a gunman witnesses say was wearing camouflage.
He was a Caucasian, younger guy, looked like a teenager.
And after an hours-long search following the shooting, police took him into custody. America's listening to Fox News.
Sebastian Gorka here. I'm living a very blessed life as an intelligence analyst, a national talk show host, and author, and I have an amazing family. But like many of us, aches and pains start to interfere with living my best life, even just walking the dog. But I found Relief Factor 3 years ago, a 100% drug-free solution for aches and pains, and now I'm pain-free, and I have my life back. I take Relief Factor every day. Relief Factor can help your body fight the inflammation that causes joint and muscle pain. pain, and other aches and pains that come with everyday life. Treat yourself to feeling better. Move more, live more, and just enjoy your life more with Relief Factor. Join me and more than 500,000 other Americans. Get started today with your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. Almost 70% of those who order go on to use it more. ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com. Feel the difference with Relief Factor.
WIBX First News with Keeler in the morning news time is 8:03. It is Friday, October 14th. Your news is brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service. Visit them today at clintontractor.net. 45 degrees. We'll have your full forecast coming up in just 2 minutes. Police hoping distinct tattoos help them locate a man wanted on several bench warrants from Rome and Ansville. 33-year-old James R. Archer is this week's Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers Wanted Person of the Week. You can see his photo and all the information at WIBX950.com. Madison County Assistant DA Brad Moses no longer disputing the finding of toxicology results that show he had fentanyl in his system. The judicial candidate, as reported by the Syracuse Post-Standard, says he woke up at a hospital in July after an accidental overdose in his home. He remains a candidate for a position as a judge in the upcoming elections after his party withdrew its support of Moses. Representatives from both the Democrat and Republican parties are now trying to support the efforts to elect a write-in candidate. The results of a DNA test linking a Central New York man to a double homicide in Vermont that happened back in 1989. Investigators say 79-year-old Michael Louise allegedly stabbed his in-laws, George and Catherine Peacock, to death at their residence in Danby, Vermont. Louise was identified as a suspect after the murders but was not arrested until a blood spot that was retested connected him to the crime. Louise is now being held at the Onondaga County Justice Center. He will be extradited back to Vermont. A Syracuse home that President Biden lived in several decades ago has now been put up for sale. President Biden and his first wife were at the two-family home while he attended Syracuse University Law School. The home is 3,364 square feet. The price that's currently is listed at is a little more than $334,000. A new poll released involving the race for New York governor. It shows one candidate has a solid lead over the opponent. According to the Marist College survey, Democrat and incumbent Governor Kathy Hochul now has a 10-point advantage over her Republican challenger, Long Island Congressman Lee Zeldin. The Mega Millions and Powerball jackpots continue to grow and have now reached a combined total of $948 million. The prize up for grab in tonight's Mega Millions drawing will be at least $494 million. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Country Suburban, your premier Lennox dealer. Partly sunny today with a high near 62 degrees. Mostly clear tonight with a low around 39 degrees. A 20% chance of showers on Saturday. Increasing clouds as the day goes on with a high near 66 degrees. Partly cloudy Saturday night with a low around 40 degrees. And sunshine back in the forecast on Sunday. Mostly sunny skies with a high near 59 degrees. A chance of showers Sunday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 43. You can always find your full 5-day forecast anytime at WIBX950.com. Your temperature brought to you by Cliff's Local Market. They keep you going. 45 degrees right now, WIBX 950 AM and 106.9 FM news time is 8:06. Here is Jeff Manaski with sports.
Thank you, Christine. I appreciate it. You make me sound so important. The Thursday night football game last night right here on WIBX brought to you by Tri-County Heating and Air Conditioning. Saw the Washington Commanders beat the Chicago Bears 12-7. Coming up this weekend, the New York Giants look to improve on their 4-1 record. They host the Baltimore Ravens. That's a 1 o'clock start. The Jets eat in Green Bay to take on the Packers. And Buffalo Bills, a 4:30 start against the Kansas City Chiefs.
I am. You want a prediction from me, which means absolutely nothing, right? It means nothing. Bills blowout.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
I think that this is going to be an overpowering of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yankees Guardians yesterday were rained out. That would have been Game 2 of the American League Division Series. Instead, they'll play it today, a 107 start from the Bronx. Nestor Cortez opposed by Shane Bieber. Also, the 2 National League Series resume tonight as well. Atlanta is in Philadelphia. That series tied at a game apiece. The Dodgers play in San Diego. That series tied at a game apiece. Last night, the Astros, with the help of another home run from Yordan Alvarez, picked up a 4-2 victory. They lead their best-of-5 series against Seattle, 2-0. Coming up this weekend, Syracuse football looking to improve to 6-0. Can it be? I couldn't imagine.
Shocking.
18th ranked team in the country. They'll take on number 13 NC State. It's a 3:30 start from the JMA Wireless Dome, a.k.a. the Loud House in Syracuse. That game scheduled, I believe, for the ACC network. The Utica University Pioneers, hey, I did it right for once. They'll battle SUNY Brockport, a 5 p.m. start from Gaetano Stadium. We mentioned the Proctor story. Proctor High School will be back under the lights tonight for the first time in over 5 years as they battle Henniger. It's homecoming weekend for Proctor, and the new protocols and rules for entry and exit at the Proctor night games. You can find that on our website at WIBX950.com.
Okay, it's 8:08. I have a lot to get into here this hour. Mary Finnegan is running for county clerk in Oneida County, and on the reopening, Sandy DePerno has reopened, of course, the Rome DMV to 5 days a week full-time. She'll comment on that. Pat Bescher is for the Mohawk Valley Water Authority. There's a report out that says the water rates may be going up again. Let's see what Pat has to say. John Decker later in the hour. You know, he's the only one in the White House correspondent team, the only one of the White House correspondents in the press corps that is an attorney.
And he actually says, I've heard him do this before, when he does other interviews, he talks about you and he says, you're the only host who thinks he's a lawyer.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And he's probably right, you know. But we have him later in the hour.
We do.
It'll be interesting to see. There's a lot going on here with all of these cases against President Trump. And then yesterday's January 6th testimony, and get his take on it. John used to be with Fox News, but is now with Gray TV. Is the chief White House correspondent with Gray TV. We'll speak to him later on in the hour, probably about 8:50 or so. He's a good one to get in there. We'll talk to him in a bit. 8:09 at WIBX.
Cold beer, hot lights, my sweet romantic teenage night.
Friday, November 4th, the Stanley Theater rocks again with Ricky Z's Billy Joel Tribute Show. This is a must-see all-star performance with Rick Zaccaro, Mark Bolos, Greeley Ford, Scott Rutledge, Mike Galimi, John Dugan, Julia Scranton, and Ron Zaccaro. Help Ricky Z donate more pianos to our local elementary schools. Friday, November 4th at the Stanley Theater in Utica.
I'm Marima Smagic-Oren, candidate for Oneida County Clerk. The American dream is my American reality. I came to the United States when I was 4 years old, worked hard, and became a citizen the right way. My first home was on Brinkerhoff Ave in Cornhill. My first school was Thomas Jefferson Elementary in North Utica. I graduated from Proctor High School when I was 16, went to Albany Law School, and became a lawyer at 23. I became a lawyer because I knew that as an attorney, I could handle anything that was thrown at me. I know that as county clerk, I can handle anything that's thrown at you. I'll fight for a full-time DMV in Rome. I'll work for a better DMV in Utica. I'll put people over politics. I'll build a better Oneida County Clerk's office. That's why the Friends of Marima Smagic-Oren paid for this message. Thank you.
Once again, the Good News Center is proud to present the annual Flags for Heroes, honoring active military, veterans, and first responders. Hi, this is Judy Hauk, Executive Director of the Good News Center. We are proud to present our 8th annual Flags for Heroes, with all proceeds benefiting Citron's military program. Here's Jackie Warmoth, Vice President of Citron's Clinical Development.
Our veterans are struggling and they need to be listened to. And when you listen to them, a lot of times they have the answers, and you just need to help them get to their next goals.
Sponsor your flag today and be a part of this beautiful tribute displaying 1,000 American flags along Utica's Memorial Parkway, November 2nd through the 13th. Honor your hero for their courage, sacrifice, and dedication to our country. Take time to walk the field of flags and be a part of the ceremony on November 5th at 3:30 at the Parkway Center. Call us today at 315-735-6210 or log on to thegoodnewscenter.org. 315-735-6210 or log on to thegoodnewscenter.org.
In Albany, the only political party that matters is the majority party.
I'm Assemblywoman Mary Ann Buttonshon, and I'm a member of the Assembly's majority. As a member of the Assembly, I do more for the Mohawk Valley. More funding for Utica, Rome, and Whitesboro schools than ever before. Almost $500,000 for local fire departments. $125,000 for the town of Deerfield. More funding from Albany means a stronger Mohawk Valley. Wolfspeed means good jobs. The Nexus Center means more recreation and tourism opportunities. Griffiths Business and Technology Park assures our future in high-tech economy. As a member of the Assembly, I brought your voice and your values to the state capitol and brought back expanded youth and senior program funding for our cities and towns and $1 million to assist our youth in crisis at the House of Good Shepherd. Given the chance, I'll do more. That's why the Friends of Marianne Buttonjohn paid for this message.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, here we go, and I believe we are back with Christine. And in studio right now, she's running for county clerk in Oneida County, and Mary Finnegan is in studio now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So earlier in the week, I guess while I was away, the current county clerk has decided to reopen the Rome DMV. What are your thoughts?
So I think it's great. I think it needed to happen. I think it also needs to be said that the current county clerk is the only person who had the authority to do that. And by working together bipartisanly, I was able to, aid in that decision. I was able to, with permission, go sit at the Utica DMV, at the Rome DMV, and to work with some key employees there to come up with some strategies and ideas that I think were helpful to the current county clerk. And of course, I'd also like to say that as my current position as the town clerk for the town of Whitestown, I have many residents who are calling me concerned about the Rome DMV not being open because they border on, the city of Rome.
So what did you take away from speaking with some of those employees?
Well, a lot of things that I took away is, they were interested in having it open, and they felt that it was important as well, and were eager to do that. And I also want to say that
were they against it being? Were the people on the ground against it being closed?
I believe that they were interested in having it open with a good plan.
Okay.
I think that they were very interested.
So there's an overworking problem, not enough staff.
But again, there's been staff hired. There's actually someone who has a lot of experience in the DMV who has decided to come back.
Okay.
So there's been a rehiring. There's been new hiring. So I feel it's really moving in the right direction, which is great.
Yeah.
Of course, there's work to be done. The staffing needs to be looked at. Obviously, the pay needs to be looked at. And my goal, if I were to be elected, is for those employees of the DMV to see that as a real career, a real place to stay and have a thriving career. And that happens by, looking at the positions. Maybe, where can changes be made? How do we get those pays increased? All those things.
How does it become a career, not a job?
Exactly.
Okay.
It would also seem that, and I don't know this, I could be completely wrong, but it would seem that having somebody with experience who knows how to do it so that you don't have a revolving door there is helpful to the customer and makes their day go easier, right?
100%. That's why retaining staff is so important. And, they know the job.
You mentioned being able to aid in the decision, I think you said. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So I was able to sit down with permission over the past few months, again, mostly as my role as the current sitting town clerk for the town of Whitestown, to work for my residents and, come up with some solutions. Is there hiring that can be done? Which there was more hiring that could be done. So in a bipartisan way, I was able to sit with the current county clerk and some other key employees, the supervisor for the DMV, and work some issues out and get that open. But again, the only person that ultimately can make that decision is the current county clerk. She's the only one with the authority to open the DMV.
Sure. When you talk about wanting to possibly look at increasing pay for those employees who are there, is that a decision that can come for the county clerk, or would that have to come from the board?
So that's a budgetary issue. So that would have to be brought to the county executive and then presented to the board. But I do see that there's room for that, and I do see that there's a chance to really get that accomplished. Again, working together, elected officials working together, not screaming, stamping our feet and demanding things. I just don't see how that gets us anywhere. I think working together is how we exact change.
I also think it's interesting that the county clerk played no role in. I'm sorry, that the county executive Anthony Vicente could play no role in reopening.
Absolutely
Everyone
not.
came out against it when it closed, but they were all basically powerless.
100%.
Yeah.
Jackie Izzo certainly wanted it open. Of course, the county executive and the legislator, of course. I think everybody wanted to see it open, but ultimately, the only one that could do that, she's an elected official. She's the sitting county clerk for Oneida County. She's the only person that could open that DMV, and she did. She did the right thing.
Okay.
I think some people forget that it is an elected office and that it's not. There's different department heads at the county level who oversee departments, but the clerk's position is elected, obviously. That's why we're talking to you here this morning, is because you're running. So what are you hearing from people? Are there other issues that have been raised by people you've talked to other than the DMV concern?
Yes, I mean, I think that there's, I've also sat down with many car dealers in the area. I've also sat down with abstractors. I mean, there's other issues than the DMV. I think that the registrar's office, the actual clerk's office, obviously there's important papers being filed there. We all know that. There's an enormous amount of money that goes through the clerk's office. So, abstractors are working there every day, want to know how it can be improved. I'm sat with many different people who use it and said, how can I improve this? How what are you looking to see happen? So I think that's also important. You've got to look at it as a whole picture. It's not just the DMV. There's records management that really needs to be looked in. The FOIL process really needs to be looked into. Those are important functions that also fall under the county clerk that, I have 17 years of experience in doing. My managerial experience has really helped me through this. I have 17 years of managing people, 17 years of preparing budgets, 17 years of customer service. Everything that the county clerk currently does, I'm doing. So,
do you
just keep
find
moving
that
forward.
you do mention a lot of times customer service?
Yeah.
Is there a hiccup in the when it comes to customer service? Are people getting the service that they deserve, I guess, would be the question.
Well, I think that there's a lot of frustration when it comes to the DMV's office, both on the part of the staffing and the part of the customer. I think it's an issue. And I think, my goal would be to, truly my goal is for people, the customers coming to use the DMV to leave and say, wow, that was easy. If lucky enough to be elected and I can accomplish that, then that's really something. And that's my goal. I want the staff to be happy, and I want the customers leaving to be happy, and I want it to be an easy, seamless process.
And I would ask also about people worrying about their. I remember when Sandy DePerno first ran, there was the debate over security of documents online and that sort of thing.
That also has to be, that's of the utmost importance.
Because we have to. I would think we're reaching a point where other municipalities around the state, around the country, are digitizing everything.
Yes, of course.
So we've got to get to that because there's a convenience there to be able to go online and find the information you're looking for. But at the same time, you want the right people to be able to get it and not the wrong people. So talk about that if you could.
I mean, truly, the system that they're now currently working with is antiquated. There's no question that it needs to be updated. And that's another thing that I will clearly do. I've done that in the town of Whitestown. We have, modernized our records. I wrote a grant that enabled us to be able to really do that and to move in, to the next century. So those things are very important, and it's allowed the residents of the town of Whitestown to have eased access of records while also keeping their personal information safe. So I've been doing that. I will continue to do that. It's extremely important.
All right. Anything else? We good?
No, I'd just like to mention one more thing.
Okay.
My opponent has said more than one time that my duties as a town clerk are simply ministerial in nature. She has said that I just do, in a very flip way, that I just do dog licenses and marriage licenses. And it's not only offensive to me, but I would think that it's offensive to the 3 other sitting city clerks, the 16 other village clerks, And by the way, the 26 other elected town clerks throughout Oneida County. What we do is important. What anyone does is important.
Right.
So to belittle that I just think is terrible.
Okay. Mary Finnegan running for county clerk in Oneida County. By the way, we're the only county in America that actually has had a debate for a county clerk's position. I think you might have broken a Guinness record.
We're ahead of the times.
Yep, I think you might have. Okay, thank you. We appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you so much for having me.
We will be reaching out to your opponent.
And I just want to mention I have on multiple occasions, and she is not interested in coming on the program. I did reach out as recently as yesterday, and she is absolutely welcome to come on this show and have an opportunity to talk to the audience here as well.
823 at WIBX.
What did 9 out of 10 people who died from COVID have in common?
They were 50 or older.
And if you have a condition like heart disease or diabetes, your risk is even higher.
COVID vaccines lower the risk of death.
Get your updated vaccine now. It could save your life.
We can do this. Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
I can't take this kitchen any longer. Carl, we need to start looking for a new house.
Honey, you know the housing market is tight. It's going to be next to impossible to find something that we like.
I know, but this kitchen has to go.
Hey, what about a home equity loan from Adirondack Bank? We can turn the equity from our home into cash to renovate, just the way you want.
Renovate?
Adirondack Bank has competitive rates, and they've been a trusted community bank for decades.
A new kitchen. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Then, of course, we would need new furniture, and we could repair the deck, even add a pool, and take that trip to Italy that we've always talked about.
Whoa, slow down, honey. Let's go talk to the experts at Adirondack Bank about that home equity loan. Then we can decide where to start.
I've always wanted to add on a craft room, and our bathroom needs a facelift.
Don't move. Improve. Stop into your local Adirondack Bank branch for more information on a home equity loan or visit AdirondackBank.com. Bank local with Adirondack Bank, your hometown community bank. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Julie Groh Denton, longtime practicing attorney and law clerk in federal, state supreme, and county surrogate court. Julie Groh Denton, high school valedictorian, honors graduate from Bucknell and Harvard Law. Julie Groh Denton, candidate for State Supreme Court.
I'm Julie Groh Denton. Every community deserves to have judges in whom you take great pride. From an early age, my parents instilled a love of family and a strong work ethic. Born and raised near my dad's family in Rome, vacations and holidays with my mom's family in the North Country. My career has brought me to courtrooms and law offices across our region, all while raising 2 children with my husband, driving them throughout Central New York for scholastics and sports. I know our communities. I value the importance of treating others with respect. I love the law, and I will make you proud. I ask for your vote.
Elect Julie Groh Denton to State Supreme Court. Paid for by the committee to elect Julie Groh Denton for Supreme Court.
Hi, this is Shalene with Northland Trailers located on River Road in Marcy. At Northland, we offer a full line of utility, snowmobile, enclosed, dump, and equipment trailers. We can also custom design a trailer to meet your specific needs. In addition to trailers, we have a full parts showroom, and we service what we sell. Our family business is proud to have been serving our community for over 4 decades. Northland Trailers is located right outside the city of Utica. So swing on down and let's talk towing.
I'm Mary Finnegan, and I'm running for Oneida County Clerk. I'm the youngest of 7, and we still live locally. My dad was a World War II veteran, and my 95-year-old mom remains the backbone of our family. As a single mom working 2 jobs, I decided to run for public office and kept the job of town clerk in Whitestown for the last 17 years. Now I want to take that experience and serve the people of Oneida County. In Whitestown, I pushed to modernize the town offices and submitted and won a grant that brought our records department into the 21st century. All of this, and we still kept the public's information safe. If you elect me clerk, I'll do the same for Oneida County. I also understand the importance of customer service, working well with others, and recognizing people's strengths. If elected, the DMV will be my top priority. Designated lines, DMV navigators, and good old-fashioned customer service is where I'll begin on day 1. If you need a county clerk who can hit the ground running on day 1, then I am the right person for the job. I'm Mary Finnegan, and I would so appreciate your vote this November for Oneida County Clerk. Paid for by the Friends of Mary Finnegan.
Hey, right now, save on a Mazda certified pre-owned vehicle at Steet Pawnee Mazda, where only the select best, the best of the best late model Mazdas are there for you to choose from. They offer award-winning Mazda certified pre-owned vehicles with a 160-point inspection and a 7-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. And if you need a lower payment, Rick says, come on in. Let's make your deal on a Mazda certified pre-owned vehicle. And if it's a new Mazda you're looking for, it's Mazda's Season of Discover sales event, which is going on right now. Over 100 new Mazdas on the way, and you can save when you finance or lease any new 2022 Mazda. They've continually won awards and have increasingly a loyal following. So, as Rick says, let's make your deal on a Mazda. See why it's always easy to do business with a family-owned and operated Steet Pawnee Mazda Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
The official coffee of the Keeler in the Morning radio program is Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. Fresh bagels, fresh donuts, and, of course, that fresh Seattle's best coffee every single morning. The drive-thru is lightning fast. And you want to talk the important issues of the world, Chuck Sedella holds court there every single day. That's where it all happens. That's where the news gets talked about. Pat Bescher is in studio right now with the Mohawk Valley Water Authority, making his way in, checking it right out. There he's sitting down.
All right.
If you're watching on YouTube Live, you see he's made his way to his mic. Adjust the mic up just a little bit there. And away you go, Pat. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Good. If you could just pull that a little bit closer to you.
All righty.
I know the fact that Jeff has just sneezed has distracted you.
In the corner into my elbow.
Tremendously.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you, I was on an airplane just on Tuesday. A guy sneezed. 3 people jumped out of the plane. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the reaction.
Hey, let me say, Jeff, by the way, my condolences on the Mets. I know you're a big Mets fan.
I am as well.
Yankees are hanging tough. I'm excited to watch the game this afternoon if I can.
Can I say that as long as we can just for a second talk about that, we're not sad, and I think Jeff feels the same way that I do. I'm not sad over the Mets. I'm angry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mets fans right now are angry, and they should be.
Yeah.
That team was stacked. They couldn't hit the ball. Really, the last month and a half, the Mets have been cold and hot, and they just had every opportunity to control their own destiny and did not.
That's how I felt about the Yankees the whole month of August. Right after the All-Star break. It was a tremendous collapse. Fortunately, they caught fire again.
Yeah, they did.
And managed to salvage it.
Yeah,
but
I think the Judge thing really helped, having that excitement to follow along, and he never while the Yankees collapsed, Judge never collapsed.
He didn't. He ran a little bit cold coming down the wire
I know.
there, but that happens. A lot of pressure. A lot of pressure.
If they had somebody other than Josh Donaldson, a.k.a. a legitimate major league hitter hitting behind him, he would have had 95 home runs. He probably would have. But the guy can't hit an 85-mile-an-hour fastball. The guy behind him stinks.
And how many more RBIs would he have if he wasn't batting first?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's a big difference. And I grew up on Long Island, so I actually went to Shea Stadium more often than I went to Yankee Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like both teams. I'm sad for the Mets, but I really follow the Yankees a little more closely.
Very disappointing.
Yeah.
Especially on that last day where you can't get a run in, and your reasoning is because the guy's got some shiny stuff on his ear. I don't buy that either.
That was bizarre. That was bizarre.
Yeah, that was bizarre. Gary Cohen said it smacked of desperation, and it certainly did seem like it did. All I could think about, and I hate to say this because I know we went to 2015, we went to the World Series, but we had Reyes and Wright for the longest time, great players, but could never get it done in the clutch. Could never get that hit when they needed to. Could never do it in the postseason. And I saw Alonso and Lindor and went, I hope this isn't the sequel to Reyes and Wright.
I know, and I don't know. I'm just angry. We're angry.
I feel your pain.
Angry.
And you want to raise the water rate.
I feel your pain. Yeah. Well, if the Mets had continued, we might have been going a little bit of a different way.
All right. The story is you're raising the water rates. What's going on?
Unfortunately, that's the case. We've been raising them gradually year after year to try to keep pace with the maintenance that's needed on the system. It's very old. I've explained to folks in the past, we have over 700 miles of pipe in the distribution network. We've only been able to afford to rehabilitate less than a mile a year, and that puts the whole system on a 700-year replacement cycle, which probably doesn't work.
Yeah.
We know we have to accelerate the maintenance.
Just ahead of Utica's repaving schedule,
That's
by
right.
the way.
Yeah. And so our rate increases in the past, because inflation has been low, have been driven really by the need to just increase the level of effort of maintenance. Now compound that with the prices going up over the last year or two of everything. All of our supplies virtually have skyrocketed. Our chemical costs are shooting through the roof. The cost of buying pipe, fire hydrants, new meters, vehicles, the price of gasoline, electricity, all of those things that everybody feels in their own personal life hits us as well as it hits anybody else. I guess the bright side is that while inflation's running at 8.5%, you know, we're able to keep this down, lower the inflation rate, and you know, not quite half the inflation rate. But we have some offsetting factors, and frankly, the Wolfspeed plant is good news for us. It's bringing in about $700,000 in new revenue, and that offsets about 2.25% of the rate increase. So there is a flip side to this, and if we continue growing, it'll help us manage the cost of the system a little more effectively.
If I can just mention quickly, and you can explain this, and you did allude to it, it's an annual hike. I mean, essentially it goes up every year. It's usually by a smaller percentage maybe than is projected this year.
Last year was 2.5%.
Yeah, so but it is something where, because there are continual maintenance costs, again, I'm not trying to kiss butt around here, but we actually do have a really good water quality product, which is a great thing, one of the benefits to living in the area that we live in. So there are, it's not like the rates haven't gone up in 12 years. It's something the rate goes up every year. It's a small amount, but it does go up basically every year, right? Am I right about that?
No, that's correct. And shortly before we took the system over and it was transferred to the new authority in the mid-'90s, the Utica Water Board had gone 11 years in a row without a rate increase. And they were, you know, and I'm not trying to fault anyone in particular. It was a situation of, you know, how could they manage a system? They had to build a treatment plant. They had debt service. But there wasn't a whole lot of maintenance going on. So in the first 5 years of our operation, we rehabilitated about 20 times more linear feet of water main than had been done in the prior 5 years under the old structure. So I think the transfer was a good thing, but we have to reckon with the fact that it is an old system, and we can either continue kicking the can down the road and let the next generation pay to catch up, or do that catch-up work now, which is what we've been doing.
All right.
Is there ever any conversation about, I guess this would have to come from government officials, but, you know, like they have HEAP? Because water does go up every year, and it's expensive. The cost of everything else has gone up, you know, multiple percentage points this year. Is there ever any talk about a program to help somebody, assist somebody paying their water bill?
You, I think, are clairvoyant, Jeff. So in the last year, what has been come across our way is a new program called LIWAP, L-I-W-A-P, I think is the acronym. It's Low Income Water Assistance Program. And we now have hundreds of people signed up for it that have been qualified by the state. And so we're receiving payment for their bill directly through a different vehicle, and they're not paying it. And it's a great program. It's helped a lot of people out, and it's helped reduce our receivables and delinquencies, and really is just like the HEAP program for home heating has helped an awful lot of people.
Is that through New York State or a federal program?
This is through New York State.
Wow, I didn't. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I did not know that existed.
Yeah. So we've tried to do some outreach. We have some information on our website about it. When we have people that are struggling to pay their bill and have become delinquent, we steer them into that program if they're eligible for it. And so far, it's worked out pretty well. We're still trying to figure out how we can migrate more people into the program that might need it and make them aware of it. So it's a work in progress. It's pretty new.
How much is how much is water going to go up, would you say, for the average homeowner?
So for our average customer, which is roughly a family of four, for example, it'll be just over $20 a year, about $20.60 a year, which is about $1.70 a month. And again, you know, we don't like raising rates, but we also feel we need to be responsible to future customers and existing customers.
Right.
If you want a reliable system without continuous water main breaks, we have to keep up with these repairs. Another piece that's driving the rate increase is that we have projected into next year's budget a little over $500,000 for additional debt service, which are debt payments on a borrowing that we anticipate doing shortly after the first of the year to fund our capital program for the next few years. And that's going to do a whole variety of smaller maintenance jobs, water main replacements, rehabilitation projects, building repairs. We have 27 tanks in the system that need maintenance, so several of those are going to be drained, inspected, relined, all those kinds of things that keep the system working properly.
There was a lot of talk from Ilion, especially with their water issues, about the line that's going to get down. Is that a revenue piece, and where is that right now?
Well, to answer your question, eventually it will help stabilize rates more. The more we grow, the larger the boat, the easier it is to maintain it.
Right.
That project is still in the works. It's still under final engineering and design. John Pisek, who is the director of the Herkimer County IDA, has been doing a great job at going after grant money. So he's continuing to try to bring the cost of that down to the local users. But the way that project will be set up is that it's going to be paid for by the communities that would use it. Our existing customers won't be paying anything to have that built.
Oh, okay.
Once it's done, it'll be turned over to us to own and operate. And we will probably supply water to Ilion first through a master meter as a bulk sale, and then later as they finish fixing up their system and eventually more than likely turn it over to us. All of those homeowners would become our direct customers and be billed directly by us. But with the extra revenue comes the added maintenance.
Yep.
And
Okay.
so, it'll help somewhat, but it's not going to be a windfall for us by any stretch.
All right. However, there is a revenue line coming out of Wolf Speed.
Yes, there is. Unfortunately for us, we haven't had a lot of overhead at this point to help make that happen. Mohawk Valley Edge was able to get a lot of money from New York State to put in all the local lines to feed the site there. And to us, the extra cost is the marginal increase to treat the water, but it is essentially extra revenue that helps offset the rates, as I said earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? When do these rate hikes go into play? End of the year?
So the hearing is scheduled for this Monday night, the 17th, at 5 o'clock, Utica City Hall on the first floor in the Common Council chambers. The board will be meeting on the budget and the rate schedule the following Monday, the 24th, at our normal third floor offices in City Hall. Assuming it passes as it's drafted, then the rate increase will take effect beginning January 1 for the calendar year 2023.
Some things people might be able to do in order to lower their bill?
Well, obviously water conservation is always an issue. Try to shower less, put in water saver shower heads. I think most people now are probably running with the lower flow toilets.
Right.
And that's an interesting thing because 20 years ago, the average household used about 80,000 gallons of water a year. Now it's closer to 50,000 gallons. And so that's another factor for us where, we're trying to keep the cost down, but as people use less, we have less money coming in to maintain it. It's a double-edged sword.
And the other part of this is how much a simple little water leak that seems like it's nothing, how much that can actually cost you on your water bill.
We had a customer recently who had a downstairs bathroom in the basement and hadn't gone down there in quite a while, didn't know the toilet was leaking, and instead of a normal quarterly bill of $170 or something like that, it was, closer to $800.
Wow.
We work with people like that, and, we can make adjustments provided that they get it fixed.
Yeah.
And so, we anticipate that that's going to happen occasionally. We don't base our revenue estimates on people having leaks and getting extraordinary bills. So we try to help them out when we can, but it can add up. So a little leaking toilet, a faucet running somewhere can add up over time if you're not aware of it.
When I was a kid, so I grew up where we had well water, and you never know. The fear is always that you run out of water. It's possible. So when we would take a shower, it would be like, you got to get in, shut it off, wash up, turn the water back on, and which I never did any of this, by the way. And then after about 3 minutes,
it's the Army shower, right?
Yep, that's exactly it. And we were out.
And then your well has to recharge for a while.
And the well has to recharge. We never really had an issue, but the fear was, what if we did?
Right.
And I think that so having water provided and having that endless supply.
And that's what we try to help people understand is you're not necessarily paying for the water. You're really paying for the delivery system.
Right.
It's available 24/7 and virtually unlimited quantities as much as you want to use and are willing to pay for, obviously.
Right.
But it's there for you, and it's a service that you can't live without.
Pat, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
As
thank
always,
you, Jeff.
we appreciate it. We'll get the details when this all most likely goes into play. 8:42, stand by. Coming up, John Decker. We'll get the latest, his take on everything that's going on in Washington involving President Trump, including the January 6th committee yesterday. What are the chances President Trump sits down with the committee? I see Pat shaking his head. I think probably close to, would you say maybe zero?
Close to zero.
Probably pretty close to zero. We'll talk to John Decker coming up on WIBX.
I'm Oneida County Sheriff Rob Mashel. Out of touch Albany passed bail reform despite almost every sheriff in the state opposing it, including myself. This makes us less safe. Corrections officers are endangered because of the HALT Act, and now new gun restrictions have sadly targeted law-abiding citizens. I will continue to fight these unsafe, unpractical, and even unconstitutional laws. I will also continue to help keep our community safe. Our children are safer in schools because nearly every school district in Oneida County has a trained member of the Sheriff's Office on duty. In Utica and other municipalities, our deputies stand with police to assist them because of an increase in crime. The men and women of the Oneida County Sheriff's Office are making a positive difference. I'm Rob Mashel, and law enforcement is my family. Your safety and their safety matters to me. This November, please vote for me to continue as your Oneida County Sheriff, paid for by the Friends of Rob Mashel.
At AmeriQ Credit Union, we believe real connections matter, today more than ever. Whether it's connecting you to the right solutions to achieve your goals, new technology to make banking easier, or a real person to help you succeed, we'll be here. In person, online, or anywhere in between, creating meaningful connections that make you feel like you belong. AmeriQ and you. Let's connect. Membership restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Let me tell you, if I could, about weekends. And whatever it is you might have in your plans for this weekend, Hemstratz and Artisanal Premium Cheese would love to have you keep them in mind. And on their billboard, which you see right out in front of Hemstratz, it says, "Stop in." When you check it out, the cheeses are amazing. The pastries and the breads and, yes, the half moons, which they are originally made there many, many years ago, all there. And think about the Weekender. This is a ready-to-go box of amazing artisan cheeses, cured meats, bread, pastries, and half moons available in sizes that are perfect for you, a friend, a family, even a large gathering. You can order it online at artisanalcheese.com for in-store pickup, or you could have it shipped right to your door. It's loaded with everything. It does all the work for you. You just take it out of the box, and voila, you have your little get-together with some great Utica items and some incredible cheeses. Weekend should never be stressful, so make Artisanal Premium Cheese at Hemstratz a must-stop. Located just off the arterial, 900 Oswego Street in Utica, so it's not just off the arterial, it's basically on the arterial. Open 7 days a week. Hemstratz Bakery and Artisanal Premium Cheese.
I'm Marima Smagic-Oren, candidate for Oneida County Clerk. I'm running for 2 reasons. The first, background. I'm an independent businesswoman, a real estate broker. But most important, I'm a lawyer. The same lawyer who took the greedy absentee owners of the Obelson Apartments to court and won. The second reason, backbone. I'm the only candidate willing to confront Tony Picenti and the county legislature. I'm the only candidate willing to fight for a full-time, fully staffed Rome DMV. And I'm the only candidate willing to fight for a faster, more customer-friendly Utica DMV. The John E. Creedon Police Benevolent Association, Utica's Men and Women in Blue, back me because I'm experienced. The Nonpartisan Reform Party endorsed me because I'm independent. And the state's largest healthcare workers union gave me their support because I'm qualified. The Friends of Marima Smagic-Oren paid for this message because they know I believe in people, not politicians. Please remember, Marima, background and backbone. Thank you.
It's time to find new roads and save at your certified pre-owned Chevy store, Steve Ponte Chevrolet in Herkimer. When you buy a GM certified pre-owned SUV or truck, you'll have peace of mind knowing all their vehicles have passed a rigorous 172-point inspection with a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and a 1-year bumper-to-bumper limited warranty. Stop in today and choose from a large selection of SUVs and trucks. Test drive their like-new 2022 Chevy 3500 Silverado LT 4x4 with only 5,000 miles. Or a 2019 Chevy Trax LT. Enjoy great deals and the buying experience you deserve on every Steve Ponte car, truck, or SUV. Shopping for a brand new, reliable, sturdy, full-size truck? Steve Ponte Chevy has a huge selection of Chevy on the lot with more arriving every day. But hurry in because they're going fast. Steve Ponte Chevrolet, your locally owned and operated dealership, Route 28 in Herkimer, or call them at 315-866-5080. See why it's always easy to do business at Steve Ponte Chevrolet.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Hey, I want to tell you about in Sarah's Flooring Outlet this weekend. If you're thinking about flooring for your home and maybe it's a camp, in Sarah's Flooring Outlet is the place, and there's nothing better than Pergo Extreme by Mohawk. And only Sarah's can offer a lowest price guarantee on Pergo Extreme. They'll beat anybody's Pergo Extreme price within a 60-mile radius of the store. So if it's flooring, think in Sarah's. Sal and the entire crew are ready to take care of you and your needs. We had hardwoods installed in our home, and it was done with the amazing craftsmanship. They did an incredible job. It's the largest inventory in Central New York at their all-new Route 49 Plaza. Get a coupon online for $50 off your next purchase, and even better, 6 months interest-free financing going on right now. See why more people buy for the big store in Sarah's Flooring Outlet, Route 49 Plaza, River Road, Marcy, and online in sarahsflooringoutlet.com.
Somebody called and asked our man Carmine in there for a repeat on the Proctor information, and I'll just quickly say you can go to our website and read the full story, WIBX950.com.
We don't repeat stuff here.
But 6 o'clock tonight is the start time. Some stuff. 6 o'clock tonight is the start time. There is one entrance. Obviously, you'll see it. There'll be a line there to get in. There's a separate entrance if you have accessibility issues. That'll be at the top of the stadium. There is a no re-entrance policy, and you cannot bring bags into the game. But the full story at WIBX950.com, all of the new procedures in place as nighttime football returns to D'Alessandro Stadium at Proctor High School. The Raiders hosting Henniger. It's homecoming weekend for Utica.
So Carmine is filling in for Davey here this morning, and this name I've given you, it might stick.
It might. Other people are calling me it too now, so
it's starting to happen.
Yeah.
We could be onto something here.
I've embraced it. It's like the witness protection program.
It is kind of like that. Yeah. I remember when I first started in radio, they were like, that's Bill Keeler. And they're like, okay, we're going to call you. And I'm like, I'd really like to use my real name. No, we don't do that in radio.
Yeah.
Radio, we got to give you, we want you to be, let's see, we're going to go with Slick Wellington. That's what you'll be. Nah, I think I'm going to stick with. Yeah, but you're Carmine. Anyway, Carmine, the free money question this morning, he took all the consolations. Did he take so he had the Fat Cats Comedy Club. He had also the Buddy Holly tickets. Did he take the Buddy Holly tickets?
Yes, he said he's going to have a friend pick them up.
Okay, perfect. All right,
we need the friend's name because that's a will call situation.
That is. We're going to need to know.
Yeah, I let him know.
Okay.
And so with that said, thank you. I now have two pairs. These are two people that weren't able to use the tickets through the week. So that leaves me with two pairs of tickets for this weekend. So it's a pair of tickets each, but I have two pairs for this weekend's Buddy Holly story on Sunday at the Stanley.
You mentioned using a fake name. That was a great segue. I was going to segue into this with what you said there, using the fake name. Buddy Holly, his last name was actually spelled Holley. But as I was digging around the rabbit hole, I found out that I forget the name of was it Decca that he first signed with?
Decca Records.
Mm-hmm. His contract gave him a contract, and it spelled it Buddy Holly, and he was like, let's not make a big deal about it.
It was already on the contract. It was already on the record.
Just leave it as it is, and we'll move forward.
Yeah. Okay, then let's you've become quite knowledgeable when it comes to Buddy Holly.
I can't tell you how long I spent looking up information about this, and boy, he was quite interesting. Anybody has to be extremely interesting and have a great story. If they were on the music scene for 3 to 5 years, yet their story. There was a movie about him made in '78, another movie about him made in the '80s, and then this Broadway show. This show has been on Broadway, the Buddy Holly story, for more than 30 years. And it's been on almost every continent, by the way.
I guess I didn't know that.
Unbelievable.
So that means I have 2 pairs of tickets to give away, and I'd like to, Carmine, caller 1 and caller 2. Please only call if you can use the tickets this Sunday, but we have tickets for you to go. Caller 1 and 2 right now, 315-736-0186. The tickets are yours if you reach Carmine here this morning.
And a note for winners, don't come here to pick them up. They are will call tickets that you will get at the Stanley. Keep that in mind.
Mike this morning says, is there a no crowd surfing by you? Okay, will there be any crowd surfing by Bruce, the superintendent at Proctor at Utica School District? Any crowd surfing you think by him tonight at Proctor?
I don't think so. But I think if he does, he have a superhero name, the Sober Surfer. That's what he can be.
Yeah. Okay, I believe one of these calls coming through is going to end up being John Decker. So we'll take him coming up in a second. There's a ton to talk about here. I'll get to that. Today is National Dessert Day, if you realize that. So you can go out and celebrate by getting a dessert. Does anybody ever do anything with these? I do think that, it's like National this day, National that day. I think National Coffee Day, people celebrated that. I know that at Daylight Donuts, they did a whole special thing on National Coffee Day. I think in National Cinco de Mayo Day, National Margarita Day.
The alcohol days, I feel like, are the ones that are celebrated.
Yeah.
The alcohol ones are always celebrated.
But I would think maybe a dessert might not be a bad idea, a National Dessert Day. So that's today. You want to celebrate, go get a dessert.
I think if the Founding Fathers were restarting the country today, one of the top 10 amendments would be, we're getting rid of this National Day thing, folks. It's really stupid. We're getting rid of it.
It is ridiculous. Dan Lamort is a comedian who posted how his grandmother ranks all 10 of her grandchildren. So if you're a grandmother and you have 10 grandchildren, do you love them all the same? I guess would be the question. He says not the case, and she actually ranks them. They all appear to be adults now, but listen how he goes from 4 to dead last, Christine. This is how his grandmother ranked he and the rest of his fellow grandchildren. Here we go.
So this is my grandma's ranking board. She has a wooden board where she ranks the 10 grandchildren from 1 to 10. All of our faces are on magnets. I'm number 4. This is the highest I've ever been. I did just get 2 new tattoos though, so I'm a bit nervous about what that's going to do for my ranking. What do you think of my new tattoos, Danny?
This is what I think of your new tattoos.
She's lowering him.
I have risen to 6th. Number 1, it's invalid. She lives next door. She moves herself. Number 2 and 3, doctors. He's a dentist, so I don't know why he's 2. He should be 3. And everything else, those are stories for a later day.
So this woman she's not holding back. She is reading her grandchildren. And that ranking actually moves depending on how they act.
And I love how
what they do.
The bitter grandchild who's been pushed down the list is calling out other people on the list, and he goes, "He's only a dentist. He shouldn't be second. He should be third."
I do, right? I do think it's changed over the years a little bit, to be honest, where grandparents try to be equal. But it used to be you knew where you ranked on the grandparent list depending on the Christmas gift you got.
Oh yeah,
right.
My grandfather, one of my grandfathers, my mom's father, named his boat after me and my other cousin and everybody else.
You were a favorite. Rumor is John Decker was a favorite grandchild, and for good reason. He became an attorney and could actually argue before the Supreme Court, for God's sakes. That moved him right up to the top. And he's on the line now. John, good morning.
That's right. Number one on the grandchild list. I'm very proud of that fact, and proud of the fact that I could indeed argue a case on behalf of Donald Trump if he so wished to hire me before the U.S. Supreme Court. He got some bad news yesterday at the Supreme Court, by the way. They rejected his effort to actually have the special master look at 100 classified documents seized from the former president's home at Mar-a-Lago back on August the 8th. They upheld the ruling by the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. Essentially, they said, we're out of it. We have nothing at all to do with what happened at Mar-a-Lago. So
isn't this
bad news on that front for the former president?
Isn't this a great example, though, of, the thought when a president nominates a Supreme Court justice that comes with special favors. We all think that. It seems pundits always talk about it, but here's a great example of the Supreme Court saying, nope, we are independent.
John, that makes them all rhinos, doesn't it?
Well, good.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You think that you have them in your pocket. Three of the 9 Supreme Court justices you actually nominated, and the Supreme Court essentially rebuffing this effort by the former president's lawyers. And I think that's good in terms of the way that Americans should view the Supreme Court as an impartial arbiter of any matter that comes before it.
What was your take yesterday on the January 6th committees? It was a lot of testimony from people who were close to President Trump and a lot of documents that came that were communications between the Secret Service and others.
Well, that's right. A fascinating video, if you happen to catch that yesterday, that was shown for the first time, showing our leaders, the people that were running Congress, Republicans and Democrats, on January 6th, huddled together, speaking to the vice president at the time, Mike Pence, and the acting attorney general, the acting defense secretary, trying to get help so that they could safely do their duty and certify the results of the 2020 election. And then, of course, what happened at the end of the hearing, the conclusion of the hearing, which was issuing the subpoena to former President Donald Trump. I was not expecting that, but that was perhaps the final act of this committee, whose days are numbered because of Republicans retake control of the House of Representatives. Many people believe they will. This committee will certainly be disbanded.
You talked about the acting attorney general. Earlier this morning, Bill thought there was an acting U.S. senator, that being Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about the video is every time Schumer would say something, and he wouldn't use the F word, he knew he was on camera, so he called it effing. You better get your effing. And then he's looking into the camera as he's doing it. I mean, can't you act a little better than that? I mean, Chuck Schumer, come on, man.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, and it was funny in the video. The video is serious. Let's establish that
there's no
fact
doubt.
right off the top of the bat. But when Nancy Pelosi says, "I just got off the phone with the vice president," and for whatever reason, Chuck Schumer wanted to top her by saying, "I just got off the phone with the vice president-elect."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, big deal.
Yeah,
she's not involved in this whole process. Vice President Pence is. And it was also funny that Nancy Pelosi essentially ignored him when he said that.
I know. It just, I mean, you can think what you've done. Republicans can think what they want, but when you watch that, you realize Schumer's not in control. Pelosi is in control. Completely.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. All right, John, we're out of time, but thank you so much. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Bill.
We'll speak next week. Thank you. John Decker from Gray TV. WIBX Utica Rome. It's 9 o'clock.
The suspect in the Raleigh, North Carolina shooting.
There are several families in our community waking up this morning without their loved ones.
Mayor Mary Ann Baldwin. 5 people were killed when that gunman opened fire on a street, then a walking trail. 2 others were injured, 1 critically. Hours later, the shooter was captured, and we just found out he is in critical condition. They did not say how he got injured. Now, state police in Connecticut say the 2 Bristol police officers killed Wednesday night were ambushed. The domestic disturbance call they responded to, along with a 3rd officer wounded, was a hoax aimed at luring them into being shot.
When respect is taken away, the public, they do whatever they want to do, and now we're seeing the results of this.
That's John Kropinski with the Connecticut Fraternal Order of Police. The suspected gunman was killed in return fire, his brother wounded. We're still waiting for the response that former President Trump promised he would give this morning to the subpoena issued to him by the Democrat-led House committee investigating last year's Capitol riot. The committee chair, Benny Thompson, says,
"This is a question about accountability to the American people. He must be accountable."
Now, the president online on his Truth Social account has said that this committee is doing this as a publicity stunt, calling it all a hoax and a scam. We just got an update on the economy showing retail sales were flat last month from August, as inflation takes its toll. Consumer prices were up more than expected in September, more than 8% higher than a year ago. That is a slight decline from the numbers we had in August. America's listening to Fox News.
Hi, Larry Elder here. I never really thought much about how aches and pains can reduce a person's quality of life until pain started keeping me from living my best life. Just a few years ago, using the stairs was difficult because of the back pain. Then I found Relief Factor, a 100% drug-free solution for aches and pains. Within a week, I was on my way back to being pain-free. Now I have my life back. I take Relief Factor every single day. Relief Factor can help your body fight the inflammation that causes joint and muscle pain and the other aches and pains that come with everyday life. Treat yourself to feeling better. Move more, live more, and just enjoy your life more with Relief Factor. Join me and more than 500,000 others. Get started today with your 3-week quick start for only $19.95. About 70% go on to order more because it works for them. Go to ReliefFactor.com to order now. That's ReliefFactor.com. Feel the difference with Relief Factor. ReliefFactor.com.
I'm Mary Finnegan, and I'm running for Oneida County Clerk. I'm the youngest of 7, and we still live locally. My dad was a World War II veteran, and my 95-year-old mom remains the backbone of our family. As a single mom working 2 jobs, I decided to run for public office and kept the job of town clerk in Whitestown for the last 17 years. Now I want to take that experience and serve the people of Oneida County. In Whitestown, I pushed to modernize the town offices and submitted and won a grant that brought our records department into the 21st century. All of this, and we still kept the public's information safe. If you elect me clerk, I'll do the same for Oneida County. I also understand the importance of customer service, working well with others, and recognizing people's strengths. If elected, the DMV will be my top priority. Designated lines, DMV navigators, and good old-fashioned customer service is where I'll begin on day 1. If you need a county clerk who can hit the ground running on day 1, then I am the right person for the job. I'm Mary Finnegan, and I would so appreciate your vote this November for Oneida County Clerk, paid for by the Friends of Mary Finnegan.
With 20 locations and originating locally, you're sure to find a Cliff's Local Market near you. Cliff's is your local convenience store and so much more. Did you know that our food is hand-cut by us and made fresh? We offer delicious breakfast sandwiches, pizza made with local homemade dough, and a large variety of tasty wraps, subs, and melts. Cliff serves up a nice assortment of hot brewed Utica coffee and seasonal blends. Find a location near you at cliffslocalmarket.com. Support local. Cliff's Local Market. We keep you going.
Cold beer, hot lights, my sweet romantic teenage night.
Friday, November 4th, the Stanley Theater rocks again with Ricky Z's Billy Joel Tribute Show. This is a must-see all-star performance with Rick Zaccaro, Mark Bolos, Greeley Ford, Scott Rutledge, Mike Galimi, John Dugan, Julia Scranton, and Ron Zaccaro. Help Ricky Z donate more pianos to our local elementary schools. Friday, November 4th at the Stanley Theater in Utica.
Mohawk Valley FCU is giving you even more reasons to become a member and save money with their early fuel loan program. If you use alternative heating such as propane, heating fuel, pellets, or wood, then Mohawk Valley FCU has your back. You can receive up to $2,000 subject to credit approval. Stock up now for the upcoming heating season and save with Mohawk Valley FCU. Just one of the many benefits Mohawk Valley FCU has to offer. Visit MohawkValleyFCU.org for more info. Mohawk Valley FCU, member focused, member driven.
Okay, 3 more climbers, 7 loggers.
Ted's sustainably sourced logging company is growing a new branch.
What about truck driver contracts?
Which means a new HR manager will be the first hire to fall.
Then we'll need to staff up the warehouse.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.